Welcome to the Gibberpish Podcast.
Well, we're still waiting for the Prime Minister to reveal that Brexit isn't an April Fool's joke 2 years in the making, but we're here to talk Gibberpish, aren't we, Dom?
Yeah, we're here to talk Gibberpish.
It's been a weird week, or a
It's
weird
been-
couple months at this point for Brexit,
Yeah,
it just got worse today.
Yeah,
When
I've
Labour
not
walked out
read
of deals.
I've not read up on what happened today, but it's from what I've read and of what I'm seeing on the BBC News and in papers like the National and the Guardian and stuff like that. It's just there's talks going on, but Theresa May is so focused on her deal being the best deal that she's not willing to hear other people's opinions, or at least that's how I've been seeing it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I've not been looking too far into it because I was at a house party last night.
Yeah.
3 hours straight, two people just started bitching about politics at each other, and it got to the point where it's just like, you're fucking wrong, and I just kind of went to the three other people that weren't arguing. I just went, guys, you just want to go. We just went.
There's
"See."
like a pub down the road. We can
Yeah,
go there.
I mean it's 3 a.m. I'm going home. I'm done drinking.
Yeah.
Which also leads into one of my topics. Stop talking about politics at house parties. Fair enough. If it gets into a little bit of a heat debate, I'm fine with that. But if it takes up 3 fucking hours of what is meant to just be leave the politics, leave the work, you can talk about sports, you can talk about music, you can talk about video games, you can talk about bullshit you see on the TV. Talk about things that genuinely allow you to just leave your brain on the table for a bit. Leave the heavyweight issues at the door. You come at a house party, you kill brain cells, not expand them.
Yeah. And nobody has a great opinion that they can articulate after like 6 vodkas.
Yeah. But no, in 3 hours I went from being, a little buzz on, because it went out, there was a rugby game beforehand, had a little bit of a buzz on after that because we won the game. I kind of kept that going, had a couple beers with dinner, went to the house party, then I was like, yeah, I've got a little bit of a good buzz going, keep the beers going. Then during the 3 hour political discussion, I sobered up. I was hungover by the time I went home.
Oh, that's horrific. I hate that kind of like the waking hangover. Like you can feel it twist. Like your brain just dries out and says, nah, you done here. You're not having
it's
fun
just
tonight.
And you have missed the timer. Please reset and try again.
You can extend the timer by just downing this bottle of whiskey. Yeah. The other thing I went up about April Fools was just I found my best ofs this year. You were severely disappointed by Sonic Team releasing a Sonic R wannabe trailer. It
wasn't even a trailer. It was just like, here's a poster. That was it. Just here is a poster.
Here's a poster of your worst memories of Sonic. And no, it's not the movie. Actually, is that's still going? Is
That's still a thing, but I think they were all just like, guys, here's the live action version of what Sonic's going to look like, and everyone's just going, no, we can't see the full thing, but we're not impressed. We're worried. What is this bullshit?
It's concerning Sonic. I think I remember seeing Sonic Team saying, we were not involved in this, but we respect their opinion.
Yeah.
Wow.
They paid us already. That's why they respect them.
We got our cash. We're leaving it alone now. They paid us specifically to leave it alone because they know that our Twitter account is like 50-50 trolling at this point.
Yeah.
My best were one of my favourite YouTube channels, Biographics. They just do like 20-minute videos breaking down historical figures. They actually take a really weirdly good look at the Nazis. If you ever come up against them, if you're like, I wonder who like this guy was, that you hear a name, good odds that they've got a video on a Nazi. Explaining like, it's a lot of them, you're like, it's a lot of the same kind of story of they were the runt of the litter and they found a way to make power for themselves in the Nazi party, and then all of a sudden they're at the head of the German war machine and they have all this power and they can just so happen to abuse it. But Simon Whistler, the host of it, is really good at delivering this like style of video. It's really consistent throughout the whole thing. But he delivered one on King Arthur, obviously a fake fictional character. So, but the fact that he holds it for so long, like, I know he's fake because we're British. We've grown up with a kind of folklore. We know roughly what's real and stuff. Yeah. Obviously, like with history becomes legend. Things kind of twist over time, but you still know the ones that are definitely fake.
Yeah,
I guarantee you that got somebody.
Yeah,
because it was good. It was a good 20 solid minutes of like him going through all the lore and explaining it. But actually, it does tie into this and this. And towards the end, like, look, I'm sorry, but if you haven't noticed by now, this video was uploaded on April 1st. So King Arthur's actually fake. But here we go. We'll just finish off the rest of the story because it does get really weird and interesting.
Actually, I do remember one April Fool's joke that I did quite like, and it was from, again, I've been waxing lyrical about this channel since we started recording the podcast again, but the Dead Meat channel.
Yeah.
James A. Janice, he did with his kill count series where he goes through different films and rates up, says how many kills there are in there, does a little analytical bit about it. He was going to do a kill count for Avengers Infinity War. And he starts off the video just going, guys, I'm not going to do it. Then he goes into another kill count when it was an episode of a show called Boy Meets World.
I think I've heard of the show. I don't think I remember it very fondly.
I can't remember this episode, but basically the episode is a Halloween episode. A kid falls asleep in class and just starts murdering his classmates.
Okay.
Kills someone with a giant pencil getting stuck through their head, and this was on the Disney Channel, I think. Like, guy's got obviously it's a prosthetic, but there's a hole in the head with a pencil stuck in there. Then there's somebody gets killed with scissors, and it's just like, Disney Channel had balls back in the day. But yeah, he does a kill count on that one. But I just watched the video because I seen it pop up on my YouTube. I was like, oh, new kill count. Kill count Avengers Infinity War. Dude, half of the population of the universe died. You're gonna hate yourself if you do this, dude. Don't do it, James.
I mean, it's half the population, but I mean, you can break it down with one thing. Like, all of a sudden it's just, and then dust. That's it. But the other one for me was Mother's Basement. Did a review of the Shrek intro. Now, Mother's Basement made its name by doing these like What's in an OP series. So they break down the intros to animes, because like intro anime stuff is like 90 seconds long, which is unheard of. Like UK TV, it's normally like 30 seconds. Yeah, just brief like flashes of characters, a bit of explanation. Anime OPs are ridiculous.
Yeah, didn't you have enough time for the character to walk through the blossom?
Yeah.
With the tree in the background, he needs to lean against the tree with the sword over the shoulder, then he needs to look up.
See the sky, and then
as
all
the
of a sudden,
giant robot flies over.
And then just the camera pans up to the sky. But like, he would break down, if we were making an anime intro like that, he would break down the meaning of that, having watched the whole show. And going back to like reference materials like all the manga, all the light novels, all the like interviews with directors and stuff. It's phenomenal. Like, it's a great way. It was a great way for him to split himself off from the like thousands of other anime YouTubers who just there to talk about the shows in general. When he went specialist like that, it did actually give him a lot of credibility when you see the amount of effort he puts into a lot of these What's in an OP. So when he does the What's in an OP for Shrek, it's phenomenal. And it's
smash mouth.
Some of it's just like complete lies, and some of it's like he's talking about how the fact that like the like big heavy hitters like what's his name, the fucking guy who made Studio Ghibli,
Hayao Miyazaki.
Yeah, Miyazaki's like, Miyazaki commented this as being truly a great piece of artwork, and you're like, it's Shrek taking a shit.
Can you imagine Hayao Miyazaki? I'm probably butchering his first name, but I think it is Hayao Miyazaki. You can imagine him, one of the greatest filmmakers of our generation, of our time, sitting down in an interview, just say with some like big media publication, just going, yeah, one of the biggest inspirations for my latest film was when Shrek takes a shit. I just loved it when he closes the door.
I was going to retire, but then I saw Shrek taking a shit and thought, not today.
Spirited Away was going to be my last movie, but then I saw Shrek take a shit.
But it's really phenomenal. Like, it's a solid.
Could we make that a t-shirt just blank? It's like I was going to blank, but then I saw Shrek take a shit.
So Gibberpish merchandise coming soon. Dare you wear it in public? You won't do it, you cuck.
You beta cuck. Fuck your wife in front of you. I was going to fuck your wife in front of you, but then I saw Shrek take a shit.
The t-shirt works. But Mother's Basement, the commitment to the bit on it is just phenomenal. It's the same as the Sam Whistle thing. Like, see when you commit to the bit and follow it through for like 10 solid minutes, and then you don't break until like the very end.
It's one of my favourite things in comedy. When Andy Kaufman was the king of the committing to the bit. Yeah, he did this phenomenal sketch where he goes out. I think he's got a guitar around his. No, he hasn't got a guitar, but he's got a set of bongos on stage. Yeah, and he goes out and he tells a joke, and he's halfway through it, he stops his joke and just, guys, look, I'm really not good at comedy. Could you just like back off and like give me some time? And he keeps telling it, and he starts like crying midway through it and just hitting the bongo. And this goes on for about 8 minutes. I'm just like, if you're going to do that, you need to commit to the bit.
Yeah, you're not sure if you're watching like a mental breakdown or if it's a part of the routine, and then all of a sudden you just burst back into it. Oh, thank
then all of a sudden
God,
he just
it was
goes,
okay.
Thank you, and bows to the crowd. And I'm like, you fucking genius.
You dick. The winner for me though was Rainbow Six Siege. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't expect a video game from Ubisoft to pull a fucking April Fool's, especially one that's like 4 years old at this point. Siege turned an entire map called Airplane and took it from, it's supposed to be Air Force One, it's now Air Cute One. You're now doing an operation in the middle of a children's toy set. Complete rework. The Air Force One has now been repainted entirely pink. Your operators, as in the player characters, are now made to look like army men. Mm-hmm. So if you're not wearing the special custom skins, and I mean we're talking like the like normal custom skins are different like camouflages for different terrain. These are all bright pink. I got a custom pack for free for like just joining in the game mode during April Fool's. Like it was on for a week as well, so you get your money's worth. The weapon skin that I unlocked was actually a pink gun with the magazine for the gun was like purple leopard print. The level of detail these people put in the fucking game, like just for a week for a joke, is absurd. This is nonsense.
You find that kind of backfires in studios because I think there was a company called Arika that made a series of games on the PlayStation 2 called Street Fighter EX, which was the first big 3D Street Fighter game. They made a whole host of characters. Eventually they split from Capcom because they wanted to do their own thing with their own characters. They did an April Fool's joke about 4 years ago saying, "We're back, this is the game that we're going to bring." Then everyone just kind of started bombarding all the YouTubes and Twitters and Facebooks with messages going, "That's a good idea, why don't you do that?" And then they just went, "Shit, we're going to have to do this now." So they commit to it then. I think they gave us Fighting Layer EX, or Fighting EX Layer. So yeah, it could backfire on them. But then again, you might get a good fighting game out of it, so can't be all that bad.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they've done this thing with the previous events where they like redo whole things for almost no reason. Like Operation Outbreak was amazing, where they just had this entirely new gameplay mode where you fought zombies, and that's not what Siege is about. And then they did the Halloween Spooky Haunted Mansion, which was awesome, where they reskinned a bunch of the characters. They put like limited what characters would be on the map, and also they took the map house and then turned it. They like chucked a bunch of fog on it, so you couldn't see shit.
Nice.
But then they give a bunch of people custom skins. Like they have Habana, who's the Japanese operator, turned into the girl from The Grudge, like full white face paint, like full long, like full length black hair and stuff. Mira turned into like a creepy nurse lady, and then I think the best one though was Jaeger, who's a German operator, turned into the Dead Baron. They give him a skeleton head.
Nice.
Not just like a skeleton face mask, because there's hundreds of those in that game. They just took it back to like they made his head a skeleton,
Right.
and just had that run around the map and just shoot people in the head, and you're like, oh, that's terrifying.
Nice.
But the operation, I can't remember what the hell it's called. I think it's Rainbow Six. I can't remember what the hell they called it again. It was Air Force Cute is just the kind of general no name for it. But they also have the like announcer voice, which went from like cool, stern, tactical operating voice. Round begins in 3 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Change that to a young woman reading a like children's bedtime novel, because the game like type was hostage rescue. The hostage was a teddy bear. You had to go in and save Mr. Bear. And the operation, like, all your drones have got little cat faces on them, like my little, like, Hello Kitty stuff. You just drive around and it's just an answer. The friends had found Mr. Bear.
Some, like, English CBBC presenter. Just
it is. It's exactly like that. It's brilliant.
And they break into the room and they find Mr. Bear, but he has several armed guards.
The friends were trying to find Mr. Bear. If you lose, like, all your team gets downed, all you hear is, the friends had lost. What a shame. And you're like, oh no, we didn't save Mr. Bear. Wait, what the fuck did I just say?
Wait, why am I saying that? I would go in this game to shoot people.
It's ridiculous. So I do enjoy it though. It was a lot of fun. I played a couple of rounds of it. The colours, everything's bright pink, and then there's a couple of different coloured rooms that kind of different lighting effects really fuck with you. Because some operators are the same colour as the room. Like Kapkan, the Russian like trap-based operator, is like orange. I think for most of it, there's an orange room. You can't see him.
He blends into the background.
He's already fucking terrifying. Like he puts little IEDs next to doors, so he like drills the thing into place. You walk through the door, you blow up, and you used to die like one hit, one kill. But in this case, you get like heavily banged up. Now it's like I think you get like partially stunned, and you lose half your health. So if somebody's waiting in ambush for you, like a yellow guy in a yellow room, you're about to get fucking rocked. It was a lot of fun though. Totally absurd. Especially when you shoot bullets at the wall. And because a lot of the Rainbow Six Siege gameplay is based on like terrain damage, they like track bullet holes through walls. So they decided to turn all the bullet holes into little stars. So it's like you were painting a children's nursery room by just spraying a machine gun over the wall. It was awesome.
Nice.
Yeah, that was my best rainbow. That was my best of April Fools.
The other April Fool's joke that I seen was Capcom were doing a thing for hiring zombies. They did a recruitment drive for zombies because they calculated that how many people played the game, how many zombies appear at a certain point. They calculated that they must have killed something along the lines of 11 billion zombies in the game.
For Resident Evil.
For Resident Evil 2 alone. So they said, oh, you're going to recruit some zombies, so you do a couple of questions and it pops up what zombie you would be, and it's like, click further to go to a recruitment page, and you click on it, and it just takes you back to the Resident Evil 2 main page, like buy the game page. I see what you're doing there, Capcom. But I don't think you need to force people to buy Resident Evil 2 anymore. That game is still, people are still buying it.
I saw a clip of somebody playing it, and I see what you mean with Mr. X. Because you're right, Mr. X is terrifying. How bad could it possibly be? I saw him punch through the wall to get to somebody. I was like, what the shit is this?
He fucking Falcon punches through a wall, grabs a guy's skull, crushes it, and then drags him up through the brick wall, then just walks away.
Like, okay, I'm done here. Bye.
I'm done with this fucker. I'm coming for you now.
I think the best one I saw was when somebody was like running away because they thought Mr. X was behind them. They burst through a wall, or they burst through a door, and Mr. X was standing on the other side of the door and just lays them out flat.
Yeah, he punches them back through the door.
I'm like, the fist is the size of the woman's chest. What the fuck are you doing?
Mr. X is fucking terrifying, but if you play the game more and more, it shifts from just, oh god, this guy's terrifying. It just becomes like, fuck off, Mr. X, you trenchcoat rapist, leave me the fuck alone.
You trenchcoat rapist.
He just wants to fuck you over. That's what he wants to do. He's a giant fedora wearing bastard.
I think the thing that pops up every like April 1st is it's like a little island of sanity, because I'm always on edge about it. And there was actually a really good Reddit post of a guy who says, Reddit skepticism has made me into such a dick about April 1st, I fucked up a family get-together.
Really?
Yeah, he went out, it's a normal day, didn't really have anything to really talk about, and then he comes back home, and he's newly married. I think he's been with his wife for like 6 months now. Like, they've been a married couple for 6 months. That doesn't sound like what I said the first time. But he went in, he got told, we're going to have to go to, like, my aunt's house. There's, like, an emergency, like, kind of family meeting. He goes, okay. And he initially was like, yeah, sure. Emergency family meeting on April 1st. Yeah, sure, whatever, buddy. And he goes there, and it's the couple that own the house. And they explain that they're getting a divorce, and they've been in trouble for the last couple weeks, and that there's been an issue where, like, the guy discovered that his wife is fucking their best friend. Like, these two families know each other, they've been friends together, they hang out together all the time. Just so happens, you know, his wife and their husband are fucking the entire time, and they've been doing it for years, and it's over. Like, they can't reconcile the marriage, they haven't told the kids yet, but they need the help, they want support from the family, and just to try and get through this horrible time, the guy goes, well done, guys, well done.
Bravo.
What on April 1st? And everyone turns around and looks at him and goes, what the fuck are you on about? It's like, no, seriously, you guys need to you guys need an Oscar for this. This is fantastic. At this point, like, the grandmother has a fucking mental breakdown and runs screaming out the room, and the wife turns around and says, I don't think they're joking. And they explain, no, we are not joking. The guy goes, seriously? April 1st? Like, not a thing? No. And just this guy say, just his confession of, like, I think I fucked up, and everyone's like, yeah, you fucked it.
Yeah,
you fucked it, boy. You absolutely fucked it. But
majorly fucked that one up.
My small island of sanity is Rooster Teeth, because they started on April 1st, because the first episode of RVB went up on April 1st. But that's, I'm 16 years old now.
Wow.
Yeah, that's kind of scary to think about. It's impressive, though.
Wait, they started on YouTube, or did they start somewhere else?
They started hosting their own material on their own website, because YouTube is actually younger than them.
Jesus.
Yeah, that's when you know you've got a legacy, son.
Yeah, that's pretty scary. But nah, I'm personally I'm trying to pull away from YouTube because I'm sick of seeing, like, the self-righteousness of people who post these videos. But you remember the episode of the Joe Rogan podcast where they had the paleontologist in?
Oh, the guy who has the Cthulhu
Alex?
shirt on it.
Alex something?
Can't remember.
Alex Vale or something? I can't remember.
Alex Vale sounds a bit right. It's the guy who's got the Cthulhu geeky
the
jersey shirt.
Cthulhu American football shirt, and he's got the green beard. Really, really, really cool episode. If you're someone that's into the kind of the paleontology side of things, because before I decided to be a lawyer, when I was younger, I always wanted to be a paleontologist. So I listened to this episode, and he was talking about he listens to a video from a guy on YouTube who just says dinosaurs are fake. Like dinosaurs never existed.
It's a 30-minute clip, and it's actually the one that got me into the Joe Rogan podcast.
Yeah, a really good episode. But the paleontologist goes wrong. This is it, and
it's so good. He gets so mad. You're like, oh, he's a paleontologist. He'll be a nice, quiet, calm, refined individual. No, he's a 6'4" bald motherfucker with a green beard.
Yeah, he gets angry about this, and for good reason.
And he starts drinking.
Yeah, you need to on a podcast.
If you've seen the actual clip, you'll see why he's drinking, and the guy he's trying to debunk is obsessed with the idea that the paleontology community and the kind of Illuminati at large, big paleo, is trying to hide the fact that dinosaurs weren't real.
Yeah, it's like this kind of Donning-Kruger effect, which is you could throw information at these people, and it could be proven information, it could be studies, research, all these different things put in it, and it could be 100% true. You're never going to convince people otherwise. But on YouTube, there's this weird phenomenon where people, they make these videos, they speak with authority, and they speak with authority on a key subject, and other people just go, yeah, that sounds about right. This guy knows what he's talking about, and all they get is praise in this little bubble.
Yeah.
And they don't look outside that bubble. And that's why I'm kind of steering away from. I mean, I'll go on and watch certain things on YouTube, but mainly they are fairly insubstantial, just little comedy videos. But any videos that have a lot of weight, I kind of steer away from, because more often than not, if it's something that I don't agree with, they just kind of go, yeah, this guy's good, or they just delete all the negative comments. Or I'm kind of trying to steer away from using YouTube as a source for this kind of thing.
I look into it for, comedy, like kind of escapist stuff.
Yeah.
But I also like compilation series. For example, like Hembo Hero does massive compilations of like Rooster Teeth content, like cut short. So if you like don't have a lot of time, you're busy, you can play catch up using his stuff. He's been really good for stuff like that, but I've never really ventured in. I gave up in the comment section like within a year of seeing a YouTube video.
Yeah, if I could turn it off permanently and just have the video and the next bar, I'd do that in a heartbeat. Oh,
you mean like as a viewer?
Yeah, as a viewer, if I could just turn the comments off.
I never really delve into the comments. I'll occasionally leave like a kind of joking comment. I think it was one where I was watching Jim Stelling review Division 2. And he was saying, man, this game's really weird, and the tactical grind is just boring. And I'm like, Jim, I'm sorry you didn't get to play a game where you can dual wield dildos. I'm sorry that it's just not your cup of tea, but this is the shit for me. Like, if there's something that I can make like a little snarky joke at every now and again, or like maybe something like in the anime community, they're quite open to discussion and stuff. You can get some interesting conversations there occasionally. But you can start some shit there occasionally. But when it comes to like the serious, like the heavy stuff, like I quite enjoy watching philosophy videos, like people talking about ideas. Yeah, philosophy tube.
His video on why flat earthers will never be. Flat earthers are pretty much you can't reason with them. Philosophy tube's video on that is really good.
Yeah,
it kind of breaks it down and it explains the whole phenomenon behind it, like why people don't trust science and why people really should trust science.
Yeah,
but it's pretty good.
I do enjoy some of that stuff, and obviously being into Joe Rogan stuff tends to lead you towards that. But stuff like, I think the main one I watch a lot is Rationality Rules. He is so meticulous in the way he makes videos and stuff, and he'll go through and just, he knows his way of thinking and how to break down other people's arguments. You're like, oh shit, that's impressive. Like he's very tailored. Like he clearly makes his videos. I mean, it's good production value. Like it's a good video to watch. But beyond that, I tend not to go and look at too much of the stuff that's outside of like certain spheres of just like comedy or like even people just being dicks about things is like, I'm happy and safe there. But like if I was sitting, go out to like these weird like creative thought places that people are just spewing weird content out on the internet, I'm like, nah, I'm good. I don't need that anymore. Like I think I found what I like, and I'll keep venturing around in that area and then maybe go out and find new stuff and see what I can do there. But I'm not gonna go and find the really weird shit.
Yeah. Even with comedy, there's kind of been some stuff that I've been staying away from on YouTube. Again, it seems to be that I keep coming back to these guys because I still watch them weekly because they upload a shit ton of content. But the guys at the Valley Folk, they've been slowly losing my like my subscription for quite a while because they've been just doing different like types of comedy or different types of videos that I'm just thinking, this is too weird even for you, right? I don't even think you get it, and you wrote it. Like, it comes across as really, really weird. Like,
are they doing like absurdist comedy sketches, or
it's not even absurdist comedy sketches? They're trying to do these sketches that just, they have a weird premise, they say weird things, and all of a sudden the payoff is just something totally different. No. Like, it's just, let's go A, B, Batman symbol.
Right.
Like, none of it makes sense. And they had a video recently, they do a thing called Your Show, which is their weekly, we're going to talk to our patrons type thing. They'll do a sketch at the start, or they'll set up a sketch at the start, they'll answer a couple of questions from the Patreon, they'll do another part of the sketch in the middle, end with the final part of the sketch, and then lead on to some final comments. But the one that he did recently was all about first aid training.
Right.
And then, because Joe eats a peanut, and then he starts choking on the peanut, and everyone around them's just going, Joe, are you choking? Joe, are you choking? Well, that's funny, or it may be funny to some people. I'm just sitting there going, that is not funny. He's choking on a peanut.
It is a joke though about first aid where you're like when you ever see the what the fuck was that?
I have no idea. It sounded like a pig getting run over
by like a chainsaw.
Yeah, like Dante's bike from DMC5 with the chainsaw wheels just went right over the thing.
But the are you choking thing is a good joke about first aid care, because you do get to see that little card of, if you find someone who you think is choking, you must first ask, are you choking? It's, if the person's like going blue in the face and just like veins pulsing everywhere, I'm gonna skip that step. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm gonna jump straight to action. But
you get in the backpack. I'm sorry.
They just keep it going. They keep beating this idea. They start arguing amongst themselves. It's like, no, it's CCR. No, it's like CCCR. And like, no, that's Russian. That's like CCCP. And like, no, you mean CPR. And it goes on for way too long. And it's just, this isn't something you should be joking about. Like, making light about first aid training, it's not funny. Like, you're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
You can do it, but I don't think the absurdist kind of way is the right way to go about it.
And then they end the video with all three of them eating a peanut and falling on the ground. Like, that's really the last pass. The one person that I know would have stopped it would have been Elliot Morgan. He would have been like, no, that's not funny, but he's not in the video at all. You can tell that, like, it's weird to say, because he's the more straighter laced out of them, but more often than not, he does the weirder bits in the video. Mm-hmm. But it's weird to see that he's the linchpin that keeps things sane. Because all these other three people, I mean, Steve Zaragoza walked into set one day wearing an American flag vest, his underwear, and a chicken mask, and started hitting himself in the belly. No, it wasn't one of their videos, it was on a Smosh video, like Make Me Laugh thing. And he just walks in and starts hitting himself in the belly with a rubber chicken.
Right.
And like, you'd expect him to be like weird and out there, and then there's Lee Newton, who will just do anything that anyone else has done and not make it funny and just be a pain in the ass. Then Joe Beretta, who will literally throw himself against the wall neck first to try and get laughs. Like, you'd expect him to do something weird, but maybe you'd expect the father of two to be the kind of, or the voice of reason.
Yeah.
But no, he's fucking insane. Like, apparently it's really bad. So it's getting to a weird point where I've watched these people for so long in SourceFed, where they've had this kind of box to play in.
Yeah.
And guys like Phil DeFranco and Discovery and Group 9 Media have said, right, do this, but we're going to put a block on, anything that you do outside this. And they've acted within that, and it's really kind of shown where they stand as sort of comedians and content creators, even though I fucking hate the word content, but it's shown that they're skilled there, because they've taken the tools from within that box and they've made something really cool out of it. Now they're doing their own thing, and they're out in the big wide, and they're kind of just going, let's just fucking do whatever we want, and it's bad. It's getting bad.
Yeah. There's two things that kind of hit me there, and it's the freedom of choice is maddening.
Yeah, I think that's definitely where they're kind of struggling.
If you get given a near infinite potential play box and told, what do you want to do? I mean, you got to go back to like the childhood mind. What does the kid do? You give them a whole like sandcastle. What do you want to do? And they just go.
You go back to the kid from last week's episode who just went in. What was his uncle or his big cousin's room and just like throwing fucking Gundams about the place?
Yeah, that is that's the perfect example of like, what do you do? I don't know. I'm not going to do things properly. I'll just do what I think works and just kind of go from there. That and the need to stand out from the competition.
Yeah.
When you're at their level, when you have a Patreon, when you have a following, when you have like a fan base that's pre-built in because of your previous work, there's like a weird kind of expectation on that. But there's also the kind of weird expectation of like what's come before, but the need to grow beyond that is super important for these companies.
They need to break out from that mold that you're put in, because otherwise you never really get work apart from that one piece of work. You're continually stuck in that one playbox.
Yeah. And all it takes is like one little shift of the public conscience for you to become irrelevant again.
Yeah. So I totally get it, but at the same time, it's just, I think they could be doing better. Yeah. But maybe they need to. I get it's probably a bit of a cop out for quite a few people, or quite a few places and sort of production companies, but I think you just need to play it safe for a bit until you've earned enough armor to then go out and go, I'm going to try something just completely off the wall.
Yeah.
And I think to an extent, I think they might have had that, but over the past couple of weeks, I think they've definitely lost a bit with just poor videos.
Yeah.
But everyone hits a slump. I'm hoping this is just a slump. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt.
And creative burnout would be another issue.
Yeah,
as well,
creative burnout is always a massive thing.
I think we'd all have to give it a go and try and make our own YouTube channel and doing the whole thing of like making videos and making so much content and entertaining people. It'd be interesting challenge. Like for some people, that's what they want to do. I guarantee though, like 90% of us would go out there and make that first batch of like 10, 12 videos, and then I guess I do the same thing, but different kind of. Yeah, I think there'd be a lot of like people would hit that slump, and when you consider that they've been with SourceFed and stuff, I mean that kind of gives them a date of 6 years maybe at this point.
I think it was 5 years for SourceFed. I think SourceFed Nerd was 3.
Yeah.
So yeah, they didn't run for long. I think they may have ran 6 years at the absolute most before they pulled the pin.
But if somebody would say, "Hey, I made like almost daily content for 6 years."
Yeah, 7 videos a day I think they were up to.
Yeah.
Because it was 4 what they called the white wall videos with the news, then there was 3 like maybe the SourceFed plays where they played some video games, then they did a table talk, then they did another thing on top of that.
Yeah. Like at a certain point it's okay to just turn around and say, I don't have an endless supply of creativity.
Yeah.
At that point you need to start thinking about like a strategy of how to develop and grow. And does that mean somebody steps away? Does that mean somebody gets more involved? Does it mean you try
or does that mean we
things?
just expand, like bring new people in?
Yeah. And having to try and you're probably having that conversation at the same time as you realise SourceFed is being shut down.
Yeah.
And you have to start your own thing. So then do you try and do something new, or do you try and stick with what you know? How do you try and balance all that? Because it's going to be it's got to be fucking bedlam.
Yeah, it's got to be a nightmare.
Yeah.
But personally, I'm not enjoying it just now, but I'm hoping it does. I'm willing to sit on my side of the fence. Still very much enjoying previous content that they've put out, but I think it just needs to...
You can feel yourself looking at that fence and being like, I could maybe sit up there for a while.
Yeah, I could sit on the fence for a bit, but then where I'm thinking just now is just, have I been with these guys enough to see when it's been great, when it's been good, and just when it's been bad, to know that they're continuing in that direction of it being just getting progressively worse, to just think, I'm going to jump right over that fence, I'm going to go going to go a different way.
I mean, eat myself.
I'm just going to, yep.
Actually, I got another note of a birthday. I saw one as well on Reddit when I was just browsing before we started the podcast. Gundam is 40 years old.
Oh yeah.
Holy shit. I mean,
Batman is 80.
Batman is 80. And in time, he's just due for some new adventures, isn't he, Dom?
Yeah, he is, but your point first.
No,
or was that just the whole Gundam is for?
It was that, and I also Cowboy Bebop is 21. Like, damn, I mean, sounds about right, doesn't it?
I mean, to be fair, 21 years old and probably one of the best animes in existence. It's pretty fucking good.
How are you feeling about the live action stuff?
It's the fact that John Cho from Harold and Kumar is the lead for playing Spike Spiegel.
I see when people seem to have like a real bugbear about that, and I'm like, but let's just give him the shot. I mean,
no, I'm okay with it. I mean, personally, I think he could pull off the cool like nature of Spike Spiegel. I think it could be. He'd do a better job than Keanu Reeves.
And the thing is, he is an actor. Like, and as much as we're like, oh, the last thing we saw him in was Harold and Kumar, and then he was kind of there in some of the Star Trek.
Yeah, then he was Sulu.
Yeah, but I'm pretty sure he could give it a go.
Yeah,
like, like just let him have his chance.
Anybody that says, oh, he's going to suck at that, just Heath Ledger is the Joker, Anne Hathaway is Catwoman. Like it worked fucking tremendously. You laughed at it. Then we got the Joker in the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
Then everyone shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So yeah, give John Cho a chance. I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Although I did enjoy. I still,
as long as he works with Steve Bloom, the voice actor, to get the voice right, I'm cool.
And Steve Bloom actually gave him the nod as well on Twitter. Just say, hey, give the boy a chance. Like seriously, behave yourselves.
Since
although I did see there was an article, and I'm trying to tell if it's fake or not. I didn't go back and do my research. There was somebody saying that we're going to cast Zwei as a husky. At which point there is
mean Ein?
Ein, sorry. Zwei is the kind of parody character from Ruby. Yeah. Because they were, we want to give the Xiaolong family a dog.
So we'll
give it a corgi. We could call it Zwei because they're all Cowboy Bebop fans.
Yeah.
Because they're all anime inspired. But they're like, let's call it. They were going to put Ein as a husky. And I was like, at that point, we are legally allowed to riot. I'm sorry, but it's a corgi. Yeah, we ain't accepting that.
Yeah, I'd be okay either way. I mean, I like huskies. I mean, when I got off the bus to come and record, I did get waylaid for a couple of minutes by a husky pup that like ran over to me.
Yeah, and I guess we're gonna be stuck here for a little bit.
Just like, you're adorable with your eyes 2 different colours.
Yeah, beautiful little bastards.
Oh, they're ridiculous. Very affectionate.
Yeah.
Very smart dogs. Once you get past that 6 month, 7-month-year-old or 7-month-old thing, they just
With
start
the
going,
little
oh,
derpy things there.
yeah, we're intelligent dogs. We're going to stop headbutting the wall repeatedly and chewing everything in sight.
The chewing thing, if that doesn't stop, can get bad though.
Yeah, that can just eat everything.
I've heard it can go through a chain link fence. They can bend, like the bite compression force is enough to like just kind of shift things around
Jesus.
and give them a gap in a chain link fence and get them out. God damn, that's a terrifying animal.
Yeah.
Beautiful though.
Yeah, really cool dog. But I had a point, like, since, what movie was it? Like, not even since The Joker, but there was a movie that came out and someone that you wouldn't expect to be in that role played that role and just fucking knocked it out of the park. Oh, fucking Kelsey Grammer is Beast.
Oh, that was so much fun.
Since that, people were just like, Kelsey Grammer is Beast. Are you fucking wrong? No, dude, that is what turned out to be what people thought was going to be unusual casting, turned out to be perfect casting.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch the X-Men cartoon from the 90s, you're used to this very intelligent, erudite, like, well-spoken, sort of giant blue, like, rage monster.
Yeah, that's kind of the joke for Beast.
Yeah, then you watch him in X-Men 3. He's the best part of that movie. I'm like, dude, how does this work?
Yeah.
It's great. How is Fraser Crane the best character in this movie? But yeah, I will never... Like, as long as they pull it off, I'm fine with it.
What was my other thing?
But if we're going to talk about Batman...
Oh yeah, it was the Batman. I was going to try and redirect you towards your Batman trivia that you threw at me before we started.
The latest animated Batman adventure is going to be Batman versus the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, off of the back of a fairly successful comics run that was obviously Batman and the Ninja Turtles. This is weird considering that I'm saying it, but I kind of think we need to put a pin in Batman right now.
Yeah. Because
Marvel have all these different like sort of projects in the air, because you've got Captain Marvel, who's hitting it big just now. People are fucking loving that movie.
Yeah.
Obviously there's other people that hate it because of things that Brie Larson said, but who gives a fuck? Captain Marvel is a very fun movie. It's great. Go and watch it.
We talked about it last episode.
Yeah. You've got Avengers Endgame, which people are looking forward to. I actually booked tickets for me and my two older brothers. By the skin of our teeth, we got good seats. All the seats fucking sold out within hours.
Nice.
People are so fucking psyched to see this movie. And you've got like other solo movies that are going to come out. You're getting the solo Black Widow, you're getting the solo Hawkeye, you're getting solo different movies. And you've got other TV shows like Cloak and Dagger, Agency S.H.I.E.L.D. that they're just taking off.
And you think it's going to slow down, but I just saw something about Angelina Jolie is being cast in something for that.
She is. I think her character's name might actually be Cersei, and she's playing a character in a thing called the Eternals.
Yeah.
Which is, to my mind, it's just basically a group of Eternal Marvel characters. That's what Luke Evans is going to be in there. Millie Bobby Brown from Stranger Things is going to be in there.
Camille Nanjiani's apparently involved as well.
All in for that. I fucking love Camille Nanjiani. Him and his wife are just... I could watch the two of them just read the phone book. Yeah. They're just two of the funniest people on the planet. But Marvel are kind of going from strength to strength, trying different things. Then they're trying there's the Runaways with like the group of younger superheroes. Milana Weintraub, she plays Squirrel Girl in that. They're doing all this different thing. Whereas if you go to DC, they have Shazam, Wonder Woman, and Aquaman doing gangbusters.
Yeah.
Like, they're doing well right now in the movie. Then they have nothing else in terms of games, comic books. Like, DC comic books are just wiping their dick all over Marvel. Marvel are just, they're trying too hard. Whereas DC are just going, we're doing what we're always doing, and our books are selling.
Yeah.
But when it comes to animated movies and even like animated movies and cartoons, they're just going, no, we're sticking with Batman. Batman works. But Batman has become, again, this is hard for me to say, Batman has become so oversaturated. I think we just need to stop Batman media for a couple of years and just let
it breathe.
Yeah, the best thing that happened to one of the any run of Batman is just when Batman disappears for a while. Then explain what the vacuum happened. Maybe something like that needs to happen in real life. Just Batman needs to disappear for a couple of years, then relaunch Batman.
Yeah. After
Detective Comics 1000, which is basically Batman's series now. Like, good idea. Just give it a break. Let it breathe for a couple of years. Let Detective Comics 1000 settle in people's brains. Then go, oh cool, what's the next thing? And just nothing.
Yeah.
Just leave them wanting more.
And the only thing that's really kind of interested me from the DC universe is that Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie. And because that looks the trailer? So different.
Did you watch the trailer?
No, I've only seen the stills.
The trailer is... it's weird, and I think Joaquin Phoenix's performance is going to be the thing that sells that movie more to most people. I mean, just from the trailer alone, I am sold.
Yeah.
Because not many people notice this, but Robert De Niro's in there.
All right.
He plays, I think, just from what I've seen, he plays some kind of MC promoter type thing.
Right.
And I think that's how maybe somehow I think the character or the name that they've given the Joker is Arthur Miller.
Interesting.
Arthur something.
Right.
I definitely heard the name Arthur, but personally I don't like Joker properties if they tell you his name. I'd rather them just pull a layer cake and not tell you the main character's name.
But you could say that's the name he's giving the agency.
Yeah, could be.
And then just not address the issue that when somebody says, but you're Arthur Miller, says, or am I?
Or is that just an alias? Yeah, they could pull that, and if they do that, that'd be pretty cool. But
which is good because that's the level the Joker kind of works on. Like he would give you a fake name to get a job, to do something else, to then ultimately fuck everyone over. So
one thing I have noticed though, this isn't set in the traditional Marvel universe, a DC universe. This is set in the dark DC universe or the Elseworlds continuity. So this is it's not main continuity. This is side shit.
Yeah.
And to me, the way that the Joker is dressed and the Batmobile that they've shown to be in the movie, this looks to be set in the 1966 Adam West Batman universe.
I was really hoping you were about to say this is going to be set in the Adam West version.
It seems to be. It looks like it's in that universe because he's wearing the Cesar Romero pink tuxedo, the pink suit with the yellow shirt, and they've got the old style Batmobile, like the old Adam West, Burt Ward, Bill Dozier Batmobile.
Yeah.
I just think if this is set in that universe and we get to see some Adam West type Batman in here, I'm fucking all for that.
Even just like the Adam West style Batman dealing with the idea that the Joker is like a fucking murderer.
Yeah, show us.
Take the weird, goofy, campy setting of Adam West Batman and then throw in a genuine serial killer.
Yeah, just a genuine psychopath.
Yeah.
But I'm all for this movie. I've always looked for a movie that just kind of explores the Joker without revealing too much.
Yeah.
Something that shows, like maybe shows a bit of like, this is his transition, but it doesn't show you like this is his rise. Like this is how he started. He broke. Like don't go too much in it. Like don't go into his kid like his childhood. We just want to see the man that he was briefly become the man that he will be in the Joker, and he's just unhinged and just wild.
Show us the depth
vicious.
of his madness and be like, isn't this surprisingly relatable?
Yeah, show us that the reason why Batman is so skilled in the way that he is because modern police can't deal with someone like the Joker. You need someone like the Batman who has no jurisdiction, who has one limit, but no real limits. He will go as far as he needs to go to stop someone. You show him that he needs. That's the only other counterpoint to someone like the Joker is someone like Batman.
Just had a weird thought about your topic. Batman's one limit is he won't kill people.
Yeah.
Would he put them in a wheelchair?
Or he has put people in a wheelchair.
Okay.
The Dark Knight Returns, which is the whole Batman essentially cleans up all crime in Gotham. He puts all the main bad guys in Arkham Asylum. They start getting rehabilitated and it actually works. It sticks. So then Batman retires. He basically just becomes Bruce Wayne, but the cowl is hung up. But the whole point of the Batman mythos is that Batman is the real person. Bruce Wayne is the mask that he puts on. He's so enamored and so entrenched in this idea of being Batman that Bruce Wayne has become the mask. So obviously he can't stick the retirement. He notices that certain gangs are rising up in place of the other criminals. He comes back, he puts the cape and cowl on again, and he starts cleaning up crime in Gotham. But obviously he's 65 years old at the time. Yeah. No matter how strong and fit he was now, or was back then and is now, younger is still going to beat him because they're going to fight dirtier, they're going to have more stamina, what have you. So he gets ambushed by a group of criminals. He basically just kicks one straight in the hip and paralyzes him.
All right.
And all he says to one of the cops is, he'll walk again eventually, and just zip planes away. So yeah, Batman.
Jesus Christ.
Batman has paralyzed people. Batman has made people brain dead, from what I remember. He punches when he's. I think
there's a few scenes. I think was it Batman v Superman or Justice League at some point where he just decks a guy and he hits him like 17 times in the face.
Oh, there's a bit in Batman vs Superman where he uses the grapnel gun, fires it behind them, hooks into a crate, flips the crate over his head and hits the guy in the temple with the crate. Then the guy's head hits off the wall, but the brick wall behind them. You see blood splatter.
Well, I'm just thinking the one, it was something about like he cleans out where he's like, there's like 20 guys.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I'm going to have to deal with this. And he just started wailing on people.
Yeah, and he started beating people up.
Yeah, and I remember somebody like, there's one guy he just hits a lot in the face.
Yeah, and it's the same in one of I think it's the Batman Venom comic book. It's way after he fights Bane and he gets his back broken. This is him sort of cleaning up crime in Gotham again. but he realizes that he's getting older, he's getting slower, he needs something to kind of bring him back up to speed. So he starts taking pill forms of venom, and as he becomes stronger and he's able to deal with more, he starts becoming more unhinged, and he just starts wailing on someone. Like there's a panel, and you just see the hand moving, and then in one of the little sort of speech bubbles above it saying, "I must have hit him about 18 times in the head." I'm pretty sure that guy can't even eat without a tube now.
Fucking hell.
Because it's all, I think, if I remember right, the whole crux behind Batman Venom is this is my worst night, and it's all a retelling. Right. I might be confusing it with another story, but I can't really be bothered looking up to, I can't be bothered checking my sources just now. But yeah, so this is the worst night. This is where I realised that I had to come off this stuff. It's almost kind of like a rehab story.
Yeah.
Like, I need to come off this, and he's basically kind of recounting his tale to try and figure out what the next step is.
I was just wondering if there was ever a point where Batman was looking at somebody who has been like a recurring serial issue and just thought, this guy, every time he can run away, he runs away. What if he couldn't run away?
Oh,
what if I just snap the spinal cord or hit him with something that just destroys his spinal tissue or something like that? Like, would he do that?
He did also leave. He's also left several people to die. So technically, you could count that as he's killed someone. He did find the person that killed Dick Grayson, broke his legs, and he's giving them the whole speech like, "You're Batman, you don't kill." And he says, "Yeah, I don't kill, but I'm not going to find you a hospital," and just walks away. And he's saying, you killed me. And as he's doing the sort of fade out, the last line of the comic reads, "You killed yourself when you killed Dick Grayson." And he just kind of zip lines back over. It's like, that's pretty cool, but it shows you that there are certain lines that Batman says he's not going to cross, but he doesn't cross them on a technicality. Like, he's probably killed quite a few people, and I don't agree with Zack Snyder's position that, if you don't think Batman's a killer, you're deluded. Like, Batman doesn't kill. Yeah. That's when Batman comics are good, is when you get the righteous Batman.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
What Zack Snyder's pointing out though is that
he doesn't read Batman comics.
Has killed. Batman also used guns in the 50s, but he stopped that because the creator was like, this seems a little. Yeah, this isn't the message I'm trying to put across. Like,
this is the antithesis of why I made Batman.
Yeah, this is why we solve our problems with words. When he looked at that issue, I don't remember him just saying, "Look, this isn't who I want Batman to be," and that's why. Like, now the moral line is, I do not kill people unless I technically left you to die. Yeah,
unless there was something that I did. Yeah, I didn't save you in time, or you bled out while I was expositing.
Oh no, your legs are broken and the fire is coming so quickly, and I have to save the other people, and I'm just gonna have to leave you.
No, you killed one of my kids.
Isn't that a shame?
I have 7. But yeah, I think it might be time to just pin in Batman. Let him breathe for a little bit. Let Batman be Bruce Wayne, and let him, just have some time off.
Well, at least Zack Snyder might be leaving him alone, because he's going to do an Army of the Dead project.
Army of the Dead?
So it's like of the Dead, like the Romero of the Deads.
All right, yeah.
But he's doing an Army of the Dead movie with Dave Bautista.
Okay.
Which I'm like, ooh, go on.
That could be very good.
So zombie quarantine in place, and a team of mercenaries decide to go out to do like a mission. I think they're going to steal something. I think he said it was like a heist movie in the zombie apocalypse. I'm like, interesting.
Yeah, it's intriguing enough to make me watch, but it'll always make me remember the last 300 movie. I don't think Zack Snyder had much to do with that, but still, it had all his earmarks.
He was not involved in that at all.
All right.
That was
just a bad movie.
He was executive producing. I don't think he was involved at all.
Yeah, you find when people get executive producer money, that's just, you made the first one, we're going to consult with you for the second one, and we're going to give you name above the door money.
Yes.
But it's what they did with Tim Burton in the last 2 Batman movies. He didn't want anything to do with him because the studio stepped in and said, this is dark as hell. We need to line it up a bit.
Yeah.
But yeah.
He's but that was him, because that makes Dave Bautista. Actually, I don't think we've talked this, because I don't think we talked about James Gunn coming back.
Yeah, James Gunn.
He's coming back for Guardians
3, but he is fulfilling his contract with DC, and he's doing Suicide Squad 2 first.
But it's going to be a remake.
It's going to be a remake.
Yeah, they're going to reboot the whole thing apparently.
Okay.
Like, he's not sequeling the Suicide Squad that came out 2 years ago. 2017. It was 2017.
Yeah.
We looked at this yesterday, and it just so happens that his is apparently going to be a complete retooling of it. I'm like, oh, that's pretty telling. I don't know. Will Smith will probably never step into the role of.
He's never going to be Deadshot again.
He's like, nope, not doing that again.
I don't blame him. Suicide Squad was a horrible movie. It was just a mess from start to finish. It made me hate Margot Robbie.
Yeah,
Harley Quinn is probably one of the worst parts of that movie.
It's on Netflix, and I'm tempted to watch it just for the trash.
Oh, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The worst part, my least favourite part of that movie is when Harley Quinn gets introduced to Task Force X or the Suicide Squad, and she's just going to go, what? I should kill everybody here and walk out the front door? I'm sorry, that was the voices in my head. And I literally just went, ooh.
Oh, you 13-year-old with a Tumblr account.
Oh, you edgelord.
Yeah, I think that actually, like, when you watch, like, if you have, like, the icon hovering, or you, like, have it, like, not selected, but you hover over on Netflix, I think that's the part that plays.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, wow.
Bad.
My brother was like, I like, should we watch it? And I'm like, did you just see that?
Yeah.
Did you just see what happened on screen?
Yeah, it's not good. But the director, David Ayer, I think his name is. He basically said that's not the movie that I put, or that's not the movie that I made. Warner Brothers editor stepped in and cut the living shit out of that. A substantial part of his movie had the Joker in it.
So, yeah, when you shot apparently 90 minutes, Jared Leto was like, oh, we shot 90 minutes of good Joker footage that could have been like its own Joker movie. Like, but you were making a Suicide Squad movie where the Joker is the objective. Like, unless I'm misunderstanding what the plot of that movie was supposed to be, I thought it was Suicide Squad.
Originally,
the plot of the Joker.
The original plot of the movie was Joker had kidnapped or had something in his possession. I can't really remember. The Joker was the main focal point in the movie. He had something that Waller wanted, or he had something that could basically level an entire city. So, military weren't going to step in because they didn't want people get put at risk. So they thought, oh, let's use supervillains that we just plant mini C4s in their necks.
Yeah. But that was... I'll probably go around and watch it. So next week, get ready for me to go, wow, fucking really?
Yeah.
What was my next?
I mean, as good looking as Margot Robbie is, and make no mistakes about it, Margot Robbie is a good looking human being.
Yeah.
When you see her trashy in Suicide Squad, just kind of thinking, go home and talk to your father. Go have a conversation with your parents. You're making the wrong choices. Yeah. You forget that this is a movie. You just, you made these choices. You start feeling bad for her.
You just feel bad for Margot Robbie.
Yeah.
You go beyond the character.
Yeah, you start wondering, why did you make this choice?
I wanted to ask you about a trailer recently dropped.
Yeah.
Borderlands 3.
Yes. 100% on board.
My PP is hard. Shamelessly, my PP is hard.
My PP is shamelessly hard. Guns with robot legs, I am all down for that crazy bullshit. I've already picked my character. Yeah. I'm playing the 6-armed siren.
Yeah.
Because I realised I've always played sirens. In Borderlands 1, I played Lilith. Borderlands 2, I played Maya. I've always played sirens.
Yeah.
Because especially in Borderlands 2, I remember one of your final abilities that you could unlock was you just fired a Hadouken of slag energy that just started sapping energy off other people. It was great.
I'm a really boring person. I play Soldier typically.
Oh, the Soldiers were great in that game. Like, make no mistake, they may be
Soldier
the boring
1
character.
could have beaten the fuck out of Soldier 2.
Oh yeah, Roland could have kicked the shit out of whatever the fuck the character two was called. Emmerich?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
But I played the Soldier in the second one to honour Roland from the first one.
Yeah.
Especially when it shows up that Roland's actually a general now. Like he's still part of the storyline.
Oh, was.
Yeah. I didn't want to bring it up, but okay.
Yeah. I think the only character that I didn't try playing was Brick. Because I thought that's the kind of character that I usually go for, just the dumb brute.
Yeah. The weird thing about those games is that when they were launched, we had so much time that I'm pretty sure we played through every iteration of it.
Yeah.
As well as not only playing it solo with every iteration, but playing a lot of iterations of like, I'll pick one thing and then either like somebody I'm playing with through Xbox Live, like you,
or the couch co-op.
Yeah, like couch co-op was phenomenal in that game.
Which is back for the re-release on Borderlands 1.
Oh, sweet mommy daddy.
Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition is upscaled to have Borderlands 2 HD style graphics and HUDs and menus and all these new guns put in. So it's basically Borderlands 1 but with Borderlands 2 everything else.
Nice.
And it's something like £15.
Yeah.
Game of the Year edition, all the DLC.
Although I will say I went back and played it recently. I think it came up with like the actual original Borderlands came up with like games with gold through Xbox. There's no sprint button in that game.
Yeah, it's weird.
There's some things that I really need to you need to have a sit down conversation and say, so things have changed. Games are faster now.
Yeah.
We appreciate the authenticity, but no.
Stop it. We need a run button.
I just can't I think it was one point where I was walking towards something and I was stuck in like boggy terrain. I think it was just like deep snow or something during one of the early levels. And I was walking forward and I was thinking to myself, I can't get any slower. this is not okay. Like, if I get any slower, like,
If you
does
just bunny
something
hop your
happen?
way through it doesn't really work.
Yeah. Oh, I had a game of Apex Legends where I went down, was revived, and the guy picks me up after a firefight, and I patched myself, heal up my shields, and then sort of try to move. I was moving at the pace you move at when you're crawling, when you're bleeding out on the ground.
Oh, fuck.
Although I found I couldn't sprint, couldn't crouch, couldn't do anything. I could, however, punch. So that was my sprint button. I would just punch because it
Punch
moved
your
you forward a little bit more and just a little bit more speed. So we actually came second in that game.
Not
Don't
bad.
ask how we did that, but we came second out of the entire squad. So that was pretty good. But yeah, the like treacle movement of Borderlands, if that comes back, I'm gonna be
They added
really
in a
worried.
sprint button in 2, I'm pretty sure.
Did they?
Yeah, I'm
Ooh.
pretty sure there's been a sprint button in 2 because I remember vividly fighting the warrior at the end of Borderlands 2 and having to run away from the lava because it jumps onto a certain part and just sends out these lava waves.
Mm-hmm.
I remember as my siren booking it across the high ground because just lava waves coming at me.
I think we're going to be giving that one a go. And
Yeah,
if they're
majorly psyched for Borderlands 3.
I'm not joking. When I started playing Borderlands 1, I was thinking to myself, I cannot play this game without a sprint button. If there's a sprint button in 2, I am going to be playing that. Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
going to
definitely
find
think
it.
there's a 1 and 2 because they brought out the Anthem collection, which
Yeah.
is Borderlands 2 with all the DLC and Borderlands the pre-sequel, which I have tried so many times to play.
Yeah.
But it's Borderlands 2 all over again. Like, I already played the shit out of Borderlands 2. I think when I played Borderlands the pre-sequel, I was so burnt out on 2
Yeah.
that I couldn't really do another Borderlands. So if I went back to it now without anything else to play, I probably could sit and play through it. But to me, just give the pre-sequel a miss. I think you could and just realistically jump straight into 3 and you'd be fine.
Yeah. I do think, though, that gaming has changed a lot since these games came out.
Oh yeah.
I mean, these were all Xbox 360 like staple titles, and since the one came out, or the next generation of consoles, I really am worried that they're going to release something that's a bit either too classic or too like try hard. Like, they're going to try to keep up with the times a bit too much.
Yeah.
I don't think. I mean, I'm hoping they kind of get it right, but at the same time, this is Gearbox Software,
Yeah.
not exactly the greatest studio in the world. I don't know if you heard about Randy Pitchford,
No.
the CEO of Gearbox, openly or he may have left a pen drive with not only company secrets on it, but maybe some child pornography on there.
Oh, fucking hell.
And it's an allegation, and I don't think it's been verified yet. And I definitely think it's gone through the courts. But this was an allegation that came up like way earlier, about 6 months ago, that he left a pen drive with some revealing content. I think people were trying to sue him for a breach contract. I think it was like a former lawyer for Gearbox, and one of the like the top lawyer for Gearbox Software was saying Randy's done some shit,
Randy has been up to some nasty stuff.
and it may involve child pornography. I can't say, and you're like, but you kind of just did.
Yeah, you just you almost kind of admitted it.
That might be considered slander if you're not correct. So please be very correct about that. So yeah, I was a bit hesitant to see what they do, because it's weird. I don't have a lot of faith in game companies anymore. There's like a few that I'd maybe trust. I mean, From Software one.
Yeah, FromSoft, they're kind of killing it. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice apparently is a great game.
I haven't started yet, even despite being a massive Dark Souls fan.
Do you have it? Is it out on Xbox?
It's supposed to be out I think it's out.
Yeah, it's out. It's out now, but I'm not sure if that's a PlayStation exclusive.
If it's not, I think it should be on PC.
It probably would be on PC.
Yeah, they're
But
pretty good about that.
From what I've heard, it's just a really good game. It's got the Dark Souls challenge, but it feels totally different from other games,
Yeah.
which I suppose is what you want. But at the same time, it actually just reminded me of an article that I think might have been on Kotaku. I can't really remember. Again, not in the mood to cite my sources.
Yeah.
But the author of this article, the author of the article basically boils it down to: this game is too hard, and it needs to respect its players by putting in an easy mode. I shit you not, a day later he writes a rebuttal to this article saying, no, this game does respect its players, it does not need an easy mode, this game is fine the way it is. Like, why did you write and publish the first article then if you're okay with the game? Like, it makes no sense.
Like,
And the whole point of FromSoft games is they are challenging.
yeah.
They test your reflexes in ways that other games don't, and that's why people buy into them. I mean, that's probably why you bought into them
Yeah.
for quite a while.
I love the fact that I like the fact that when I play a Dark Souls game, I'm probably going to get my ass handed to me. And if I'm not on point for like 10 hours solid for a whole session, I am going to continually get my ass handed to me. The only thing is, though, when it comes to the easy mode, is that I don't mind the idea of easy modes in games, and especially in FromSoft games, which are deliberately hard.
Yeah.
And I don't mind them because of the issue of accessibility.
Yeah.
What about a disabled player? What about somebody who doesn't have good physical control over themselves, like somebody who needs
who needs an adapted controller?
Yeah, like Microsoft released an adaptive controller because there are gamers out there who can't hold a normal controller.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't, and if we can accommodate those people so that they can enjoy gaming, great. Because I enjoy gaming, and I enjoy it because it's a release and it's an escape, and I have a pretty good life. So if I have a pretty good life and want an escape, what about somebody who is suffering? So when it comes to, we can't give people an easy mode because that makes the game less fun for me. You know the hard mode is still there, right?
Yeah, that's always been my stance, because when I first read it, I thought, easy mode, fair enough, people are going to get annoyed because the whole point of a Dark Souls FromSoft game is that it is the challenge, it is probably one of the more difficult games that you're ever going to play. This whole Soulsborne series, as it's been dubbed, this is an ultimate test your might type game. For me, I'm always of the viewpoint, I don't like gatekeeping in any way, shape or form. You've heard my thoughts on cultural appropriation. I think that's just modern day gatekeeping. Yeah. If you put, here is hard mode, that's the only mode you can play. But what if people, like you said, what if there's disabled people? What if there's other people that maybe just don't like hard games that want to play this game that looks good to them? No, they don't get it. They don't get easy mode. They get hard mode, and that's it. No, put the easy mode in. Yeah. If there's anything that gets people to buy into this game, which is why I will never. Well, I mean, being a casual fighting game fan, I will never say to other fighting game fans, no, it's not for you. If you don't get it, you don't get it. Yeah. No, put in easy mode, put in story modes in fighting games just so you can get more people to buy the game. And more people buying the game is never a bad thing.
Community,
it helps community grow. It brings in sequels. It brings in more content. It cements this idea that the people that are making this game are making a good game, so they put more into it. Yeah. And then you get a better product at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if you feel the need to kind of reinforce your ego with the telling everybody you beat this game, and I would say, you can then all you have to do is follow it with, I beat that game on hard mode. Because that's what we did with the old Call of Duties. There was the easy, was it recruit, soldier, veteran, and then it got to insane,
hardened or something like that.
Hardened and version stuff like that. It was insane and then hardened.
Yeah.
Okay, surely the insane then comes at the end.
I'm thinking of the Halo, because it went from,
No, I think it was in the CODs as well.
Alright, cool. Yeah. I can't really remember because it's been ages since I played either, but it was always this thing I beat this game, cool. On hard mode, dude, you're such a god.
That's the one that raised every Really?
The only time I've ever done that is recently when I finished my first ever Resident Evil 2 hardcore run. Yeah. And it was a case of, I turned to a friend of mine and I said, I finally finished it. I can't go back to Resident Evil 2 for a while. I think I'm done with that game. Just... burned me out mentally, because Mr. X he can go into more areas than he could previously, and he's faster. It might just be the fact that I wasn't prepared for him as much, because I had little ammunition that I was very reluctant to use. That was just, he's everywhere. But I did that's the only time I ever said it. I finished it on hard mode, and now I need therapy.
But if you feel the need to kind of massage your ego with the whole, I need the acknowledgement of beating games on hard, I mean, once you're done seeking mental help, I mean, just feel free to add in on hard mode. Yeah. Like we did back in the day. You don't need to, exclude other people from your community because you want that kind of puritanism of, we need to keep it hard for the hard players.
Yeah, there's a reason why we've evolved past, passwords and old Nintendo hard games like the original Ninja Gaiden and the original Metroid. There's a reason why we don't just make stupidly hard video games anymore. We make them more accessible because people want to play games. Yeah. It's a simple thing. People want that escapism. People want that, that different aspect, that different story to read. It makes sense to try and cater for everybody.
Yeah. Which brings me to Anthem.
Yeah, I've seen this. I don't know if you're going to talk about this article, but I have seen the article or video. There was the one that Angry Joe did that's just why Anthem failed, or this is why Anthem failed, and people are pissed.
I read the very, very long article by Jason Schreier, Schreier, Jason Schreier, sounds about right, who basically decided to go and interview a bunch of former employees at BioWare and figure out just what was happening behind the scenes for the Anthem game, and the phrase "shit show" springs to mind.
Actually, I did remember reading about this. Wasn't it 4 years or something? They did nothing.
Yeah, the development cycle of it is supposed to be about 7 years long.
Mm-hmm.
So that's like from concept to publishing.
Yeah.
For the first almost 5, nothing happened. And then when they started churning out like a promo version of the game, it was so bad that like the head of EA that they sent a copy to, I'm going to try and find his name, it's somewhere in the like kind of text and notes. The article was so long, my notes on it would constitute an article. It's nonsense.
Peer review.
But they have like they sent like a demo version, because apparently that's an EA tradition, is that every time a studio is working on a big game, the one that's closest to publication sends out like a copy version to like a bunch of executives so they can play it over the holidays, and then they like say, oh, it's feedback, or like give any information or any ideas, and it helps kind of, or it gives the executives and like the studio leads time to like see what's going on in the company, get a bit of taste and a bit of like kind of cross pollination. This was such a disappointment, I'm going to use that term charitably, that the director, Patrick Soderlund, he was so disappointed by the graphics that he flew people from the BioWare studios in Edmonton and Austin to Stockholm, Sweden, probably just to chew them out.
Probably just. You remember Mum from Futurama that would just slap her
Yes.
just go down the line of about 40 different animators and editors, just slap them all in the face like, what did you do? What did you do? What the fuck did you do? You're the head of marketing. What the fuck is wrong with you?
I don't know, I haven't seen the game yet. You should have. It's bad.
Do your job.
It was something along the lines of
Quality assurance probably got their asses kicked.
when they saw the game graphics. He said, "This is not the game you promised me."
Yeah, I can imagine similar reaction to from the guys that made the Sonic the Hedgehog 06. That game is not finished. And It looks unfinished. It's horrible.
But the problem seems to be coming from the fact that the game was headed up by the Edmonton studio, who are it's OG. Like BioWare. This is like the first point of BioWare being a company. The only problem is that when they took the kind of the status of being the first BioWare studio and referred to themselves as being the only true BioWare, and
only true BioWare.
They look down on other BioWare studios. There's your first problem. You've got an elitist group who are actually going to turn out through the whole of this to be pretty fucking incompetent. So apparently one of the other issues was that the project that became Anthem was known as Beyond for ages, and it was going to be Beyond like 3 days before they showed up at E3 with like the promo trailer. And then EA changed it. They just said, nah, not feeling it, should be Anthem. Let's go back to the drawing board on a name that like a few days before you're due to go live at E3.
That's horrible. Let's just change a major part of your entire presentation just on a whim.
They had T-shirts printed for staff members
with Beyond.
Like Beyond was all set
They've
out
just
and
got
designed.
tape. Like, this is now Anthem.
It's just duct tape. Anthem with like Sharpie marker.
Like pink Sharpie.
But the issue seems to stand with the fact that nobody was actually taking the lead on this. Like the lead developers would go into these big conference meetings and say, we talk about the game's concept, its style, what we're doing, like where's it set, and apparently people would argue about this for like 4 hours and not have an answer. And
Jesus.
The meeting would end without an answer. People would just leave. What the fuck?
Because this was meant to be BioWare's next AAA game. This was meant to be the follow-up to Mass Effect.
This was gonna like break them off of Mass Effect and Dragon's Age and be their next big IP.
Yeah, this was going to be the next flagship.
Yeah, and it was going to be their first time doing online development.
Yeah, because it was meant to be Destiny style, massively multiplayer online.
We'll get to Destiny in a minute.
Oh, right.
Destiny,
has something to do with...
Destiny will become an issue later on.
Oh, right, okay.
So the one of the things is that it's Edmonton. There was a studio in I think it was California. That studio had to be shut down because EA just likes to shut down studios for shits and giggles. I know I don't like Jim Sterling, but he has a very good point when you see like the list of studios that EA buys, lets them run for a little bit, and then shifts them from a game that is not their style onto an EA game that they just need to have made. Like, we got to do this game, and then shuts it down. They have absolutely slaughtered studios over the last couple of years, and it's horrific.
Yeah,
When
I
you
know
look
they
at-
did the same with Westwood. The guys that made Command and Conquer, they bought them out, made them do several like non-Command and Conquer games, then just shut them down.
Yeah, they are slaughtering studios that are unheard of, right? And not seeming to do very much with it.
Yeah, they didn't do anything with fucking Westwood.
Yeah. But they had a studio in Austin who had actually previously made Star Wars The Old Republic. So
Okay.
they'd made like an online RPG.
Mm-hmm.
The guys from Edmonton basically ignored those guys when it came to online functions because they got to see like a preview version and were like, this doesn't work. You have issues here, here, and here.
Especially if you've got the guys that made is it Knights of the Old Republic or The Old Republic?
Star Wars The Old Republic.
Right.
It's not KOTOR, that's a different...
Yeah, KOTOR,
thing.
that was LucasArts and someone completely different. I can't remember because I always wanted to play those games. They looked cool, but it was
by the time we get to them and we can run them, it's like, oh, you want to play a 20-year-old game?
Yeah, subscription fees now.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Old Republic, that game was really good. There wasn't a lot of content on it, but from what little content there was on it, it was apparently pretty good. And in terms of online functionality, the amount of people that were playing Star Wars online games, they know their shit. Why not listen to those people? That just sounds so anathema to me. You just listen to the guys that know their shit.
Yeah. Like, if the Edmonton team is just doing these, like, Dragon Age and the other one, fuck, I can't remember what it's called now.
All I know is, you say BioWare.
Commander Shepard.
Mass Effect.
Mass Effect, yeah.
Mass Effect, yeah.
They're doing that series. They have no online...
Yeah, but Mass Effect Andromeda kind of killed that. Mass Effect Andromeda was horrible.
And
really fucking bad.
They mentioned that part of that was there was concerns about the studio after Andromeda ate shit, basically.
Yeah. That's so good. I think that was probably because EA were just going, hey guys, let's do it this way. Let's not do it your way.
But one of the issues was that at some point, EA, like as a company, made this big decision to do all their games on the Frostbite engine. Now, the Frostbite engine is phenomenal.
Yeah.
It makes amazing games for like Battlefield games, and they're like experiences.
Battlefield 1's a beautiful, really good
like,
game.
Consistently good. Like when I think first played, it's weird because the Battlefield games are so badly titled. It was Battlefield 4.
Yeah.
Playing on those games was phenomenal. I was like nothing I've ever done before. It showed me the difference in like people saying, "Oh, Battlefield's so much better than Call of Duty," because that was the debate back in the day. I saw it and I was like, I see the difference and I dig it. So like I keep an eye on Battlefield releases because they're interesting games. But
Did you play Battlefield 1?
Yes.
Battlefield 1 has one of the best sort of intermission, or one of the sort of individual missions that you can ever play. You play a carrier pigeon. You play Speckled Jim. You at some point I was expecting Stephen Fry just go and go, "You shot my Speckled Jim."
Bloody hell. It's phenomenal. Like I just love the Battlefield like the Battlefield series when it
so good.
When it goes hard, it's amazing.
I remember putting so many hours into Battlefield 1942 and 2142 that came out on the PC.
Yeah.
Really good games, really fun multiplayer games online. Yeah. And then like Battlefield Bad Company 1 and 2 were so fucking good. They were funny as hell and like really good shooters as well. One of the first instances of completely destructible environments. You could just lob a noob grenade into somebody's house and blow it up.
Yeah.
If there's a hut or something where you're basically going through, you can just lob a grenade in there and it blows up. You see all the destruction. It's pretty cool.
But the problem is, it's like a very specifically made engine for the team at DICE.
Yeah.
And EA saying the company will now make all games on Frostbite because it's graphically amazing. What you can get out of that system is ridiculous. Photorealistic faces, the whole lots, the lighting effects can look great, but you've got to know how to use it. And unfortunately, nobody at BioWare had ever used the system before, so they spent a lot of time trying to get things right. And that is part of where, the demo they sent out, it looked so bad because nobody knew how to use the system. So when they saw this, part of the discussion was, "You're going to come here, I'm going to chew you out, and I'm going to send you home with a team of people from DICE, and they will get the most out of your system." So a team from DICE went out with like their development team, and after having chats and discussions about what was going to happen, they sat and tweaked the game to make it look a lot better. Based on what actually came out, it actually looked pretty decent. The problem is though that like this is not just a problem for BioWare. Like they want to make EA sports games in the Frostbite engine.
That's not going to work. That's too much detail on characters that you're never really going to see.
Yeah.
Because obviously in every football game, the camera is just way above the football players.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's never going to work. That's like using an RPG round to shoot a fly.
Yeah.
It's too much.
You don't need this one. You should have a special thing for that and a special thing for this, and they should be totally separate. But they had they actually apparently at one point were pulling people off of BioWare Studios to go deal with an EA FIFA game that was coming out that year.
Really?
And then tried to put them back in like immediately. Say guys who are like who jumped in to help with the crush over there, jumped back to help deal with the absolute shit show that's happening in BioWare.
Fuck.
So this kind of keeps going on.
I wonder how many genuinely just a question, kind of little sidetrack here. How many FIFA games do you think they still have left? I think they get maybe 2 more, and this whole series stops.
But we keep saying that. I've been calling it. It's been dead since 2012. We're stuck here watching
roughly.
these same games come out.
From what I've seen, the past 3 FIFA games have all just been the exact. In fact, maybe not even 3. Let's be generous. Since 2013, they've all been the exact same fucking game.
They made it unique with a single player game though. It's totally a different game now, Dom. It's totally a different game. Yeah, I know. I can't convince myself with it.
Yeah, I mean, when the words left your mouth, you probably weren't too convinced, were you? I can't even stand up to this argument.
The one of the things that I noticed was that the game for like Beyond or Anthem, as it became, was going to be completely different, and the original concept for the game sounds really cool. It was going to have not quite like I'm going to say survival horror, but not really horror aspect to it, where you were going to be out on a mission, and then the game's world would flip switches as you were playing. Like it would just randomly decide, and now there's a lightning storm, and the lightning would just come down and wreck shit in front of you.
So it'd have like an active environment.
Yes.
Kind of like Breath of the Wild did, because they had the active weather system that was just there'd be you'd get rain, which mean you couldn't climb. You'd get like blistering sun, that would mean that you'd start like your body would heat up too much, and you'd have to take off bits of armor. You'd have to take things that would cool your body down. Yeah, that done well could be pretty cool, especially in a huge budget game along the lines of what Anthem was, touted as.
Yeah. But if you take like this kind of like procedurally generated weather, and then slap it on top of like a world that's basically trying to kill you.
Yeah.
The idea for Anthem was supposed to be going to be a lot more challenging than just a regular shooter. I'm like, it was kind of going to be in that kind of Dead Space category. I'm like, ooh, like I'm up for that. That sounds interesting. But because they couldn't figure out how to make it work in Frostbite, they had to abandon it and basically rewrite again from scratch. And this is what kind of led to this weird culture of let's just rewrite shit, constantly try and make the game fit with what we can do with it. And like you actually get to a point where like a bunch of like lead developers just leave. They're like, no, we're done. This isn't working. Fuck this. We're leaving BioWare. There's actually at one point one of the guys unfortunately dies as well.
Really?
Yeah. Don't think it's related to the actual game development. I think it's like he just happened to have like complication through something else. But they have to change out a lot of the like lead developers and stuff. And there's just a switch that goes 16 months before the deadline. They bring in a guy called Mark Dara. He is the guy who is given the top credit on the game. He was only there for 16 months of the 7 years of development.
Jeez. Is that like when Arnold Schwarzenegger got brought in for the last Batman movie? they put his name at top billing because he was Arnold fucking Schwarzenegger.
He was brought in like as the head of the studio.
Really?
Like
he got top billing because of it.
For 16 months left on a game, and he admits, and people say that, or people have said he admitted to basically saying, we need to just get this thing done. Like, we're not, like, we can't retreat out of this, and we can't get an extension because it's been 7 years and we haven't published a game. We need to get something out the door because we promised EA it would be done by the end of the financial year in 2019, or 2018's financial year at the start of 2019. So he just said, fuck it, get it done.
Yeah. You
With
can imagine
months left.
Imagine with 7 years worth of development and they have virtually nothing to show for it.
Yeah.
EA were just wanting to get this out the door.
Yeah.
Kind of in the same vein as what they did with Kingdom Hearts 3. There's just, right, but the story isn't finished. We can finish it with DLC. Let's just get it out there before the fans get, revolutionary instead of...
It has been a decade.
Yeah, it has been. People have been through high school in the amount of time that it's taken to finish this fucking game.
Yeah. And to his credit, like, he does actually get the game out the door. And he does, like, get things sorted out. But the problem is... EA have to ship in teams. Like, teams come from across like EA's empire of games. Like, another team of people from DICE comes in to help people out as well with the Frostbite engine. So there's like almost like paratrooping in.
They're just dropping.
Someone
troops in.
fixed this game.
But then I think it becomes the problem of we're not focusing on the key issues. We're just throwing people at the wall and seeing what sticks, and if that sticks, that's going to help.
Yeah,
there's not really or just from what you've said there briefly, it doesn't really sound like there's much of a focus on what was going wrong. They're just like, right, there's a problem with the engine. Let's bring in guys who know the engine to try and fix it.
Yeah. The problem is there's no leadership, and that's what's terrifying. Like, nobody steps in, mediates those meetings. Nobody comes in and says, I'm in charge, we follow my direction.
Yeah, we do what I say because I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. And one of the things that really is disturbing for me is that, like, veteran BioWare staff who've been around for like a couple of games, seen what goes on, point out the fact that a couple of the games in the past have been like a panic and a nightmare. Like, I think it's Dragon Age Inquisition was one of the worst games, like, production wise. Yeah. But one of the best received.
Yeah, that game is ridiculously well received. But I think it was one of the first games that used the more photorealistic style. Yeah. Or one of the first games that used the photorealistic style. And just transitioning from old Dragon Age engine and graphics to new Dragon Age engine and graphics was just a fucking headache for people. I can imagine it would have been a headache for people.
Yeah. And the problem is that they start saying, don't worry, guys. The BioWare magic will happen. This is advice being passed down from senior members of the team to the younger guys who are like, we're in trouble. We need help. We need to do something. We need to like get direction, focus, and actually go for a goal here. Because a lot of the time, like most of that 5 years at the start is just people dicking around. There's a recurring argument of should the game involve flying or not.
Yeah, I remember reading that about there was a discussion they got to around the 4-year mark.
Yeah.
Should they include flying? And then that took another 7 months to agree on something.
That argument keeps cropping up. Like every 6 months, somebody goes, well, maybe we should include flying, and then like it goes away for a bit, and then it comes back up again. And people are saying, well, how do we do this? And they try to make it work. So they actually at one point say, fuck it, let's include flying. Try it for like a year. But then they've got to go back and redesign all the maps, because the idea was it would be limitless flying across the world. Oh. And you're like, this doesn't work.
Yeah, that's maybe Icarus flying into the sun type shit. You're getting too close there. You need to just reel it back in.
Nice pun.
Yep.
Yeah,
I like it.
Yep.
I'm that tired, I didn't even pick up on it.
They just spent way too long wasting time with like little to no
there wasn't
leadership.
No leadership, nothing to show for the 4 years that they didn't do anything. It's ridiculous. It's not how AAA games should be made.
Yeah. And my kind of closing notes on it were that for some reason throughout the article, BioWare come across as really arrogant with the whole kind of like, we're BioWare, we've got this, the BioWare magical game. Yeah. How can we do anything wrong? We're BioWare. And the lack of leadership is a serious issue. They had like 7 years to make a game from scratch and kept fucking around for so long they to finish it in 16 months. It's insane. Because I'm going to contrast it with Destiny.
Okay.
Because
bring it back. You said you were going to bring in Destiny.
Developers, or lead developers and studio heads would become enraged when Destiny was brought up, because they didn't like the idea that they were being compared to Destiny within their own team. Here's the thing, you're making the same fucking game. You should at least have the like kind of humble attitude to learn from your competitors, see what they're doing right, and then take it back for yourself and apply it to your product. That's just good business sense. Like
that's sensible. That's intelligent.
Yeah, but there's this weird ego that says that you cannot have anyone even talking about Destiny in the office. It was like a verboten subject.
It was like Macbeth.
Yeah,
the like Scottish play.
Nobody mentions the Scottish play.
I get this, another Blackadder reference with the actors.
But Bungie cracked out Destiny in 4 years. And now that's a big game, and you could argue that Destiny Year 1 was a bit of a shit show.
Yeah.
Destiny doesn't get good until you get to the Taken King, which is a year later, so even then, that's 5 years. Yeah. At this point, Anthem is still deciding to have a flying mechanic in the game. And that's where I think the main difference will be, if you looked at it and you actually went and interviewed everyone involved, is that when you like look at the old footage like of like Bungie development vlogs and stuff, like where they would sit down with developers and stuff, they talk about it like this is a game they've wanted to make for the last decade. but they just couldn't because Microsoft were saying no, and they had to go independent to make the game. Like when they left, they were like, "We're doing it, guys. We're finally making Destiny." So they run out the gate with the goal of Destiny.
Yeah, this was the main arrow in their quiver the minute they left.
I don't think Anthem had anything like that. I don't think nobody was looking at it and saying, "This will be Anthem." Like, if I could summarize it in a word, like in a painting, this would be it.
Mm.
Nobody has that at the kind of BioWare studios. Everyone just kind of says, "Yeah, we're making a game. What's it called? Beyond." Oh, it's Anthem now, but we're still making Beyond. You know, what's Beyond?
Beyond is Anthem.
Yeah, you do stuff with like a guy,
You've
and
got
like you shoot stuff, and there's like dinosaurs, lightning.
robots.
We'd cancel the lightning, but there'll be lightning effects, you know, from the lightning. What else? Potato.
There will be other people and a tree.
And I hope they fix it. I hope Anthem gets fixed.
Yeah,
I don't know if it can.
It would take a lot, and it would take it would take more man hours than I think they would realise to get it fixed, and it would take a lot of good favour or goodwill within the community of Anthem, as little or as large as it may be. Probably on the little side.
Shrinking by the day.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people on YouTube, particularly a guy that I've been following called Arix Gaming.
Yeah.
He played it for 10 hours, and he was one of those people just going, "Guys, it's not that bad." But there's a lot of...
You could hear a cocking gun in the background.
Yeah, there's a lot of sort of stipulation about that he was being paid to do it. He was being paid to review
Could you
Anthem.
imagine if you were paying somebody, like, you need to promote our game, and say, "Look, it's going to be suspicious if I just come out saying it's the greatest game ever made. So how about we kind of meet halfway? You can still pay me. Like, I'll take a paycheck and I'll promote your game, but I'm gonna have to kind of tone it down a bit.
Yeah.
I need to take it down. How far down do you take it? I'm gonna say it's not that bad.
I'm going to say it exists.
I'm gonna say it's there. It's available. It's cheap. It's got a jetpack.
Yeah, you get an Iron Man suit.
There's Iron Man suits. I'm gonna say that. And that way, I'm not lying to anyone.
I'm going to state purely fact. Like, there's not going to be any opinions.
And you get the first positive Anthem video ever made.
Yeah. All the videos that I seen around Anthem were, I got the Anthem beta and I uninstalled it after 10 hours of play.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was just horrifying to see that the one time when everyone was having fun in the game, like the community was kind of like, "You know what, I'm starting to enjoy myself," was when the loot system was broken. At one point, the loot system was doling out stuff at like 3 times the rate it should have, and at that point, a BioWare engineer went, "Oh shit, it's giving out too much loot," and then they put it back to normal, and everyone was miserable. But I mean, I want people to fix it because like this year in the games industry has been fucking brutal.
Yeah.
There's been about, I don't want to say like 1,000, but it's getting close to 1,000. Like, it seems like journalism, like online journalism and gaming, are having a race so you can fire the most people.
Yeah.
In the last year, and it's been shit to watch.
Yeah, they reckon it's not going to end because Square Enix laid off quite a few people. The Final Fantasy team got a severe reduction, and that wasn't a big team to begin with. They were talking 80 people.
Yeah.
And that has now been dropped by, I think, 20 odd people since Final Fantasy 15 ended, including the director of Final Fantasy 15.
Yeah. And that's like, it's normally there are certain game industry cuts that people know and accept, like when you're done with the game, when you're not shipping a game anymore, when you're like done with the QA testing, at that point you can like you do cut out your QA testing people, and that's a shame. Those people do lose their jobs and are part of the game industry. But if you're a QA tester, you can typically find work at another studio.
Yeah, there's always going to be a need for that kind of role.
Yeah. There's always a game in development somewhere. If you can travel, if you're not tied down with like a family or like a home or a mortgage, you could travel to another place. You could do the job elsewhere. You could try and work remotely, whatever. Like, you can do your job or you can travel to it. If you live in a city with multiple studios, awesome. You could probably just kind of work, and it'd be like seasonal work. Like, I go work at this place in the summer, and then I go work at this place in the winter, and then spring, summer. You know, you keep bouncing around. But if you're like somebody who's committed to just doing one job, like a programmer,
yeah,
like if you need to stay at that place and you worked there for so long, like these cut-offs must be terrifying.
Oh yeah.
Like, I can't imagine what it's like to just know at some point like it's all going to go because somebody making several billion just says, "I'm not feeling the development this year."
Yeah.
Like, it's not profitable as it used to be. We need to kind of refine and corporately restructure and then you as a creative person lose your job.
Yeah, it's terrifying.
I'm kind of, my only hope is that the indie scene goes a bit nuts now. Like, we have all these freed up gamer or like game developers. I hope there's enough talent out there to kind of materialize like smaller studios.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to see like some indie stuff. I'd love to see a mid tier. Like, where did the mid tier go? It's either AAA or indie, and there's no in between.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can't really think of mid tier. I mean, you think, what about mid tier? Mid tier games technically are your re-releases and your collections.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the only way I could think of it. But yeah,
like movie tie-in stuff as well.
Yeah, but movie tie-ins are dead. There's not been a movie tie-in in years, and if there has been, it's been kept very quiet.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever played a fucking amazing movie tie-in game.
Yeah, but I think we're missing that, and that's where like the 360 was the heyday of like those like kind of games that weren't that big. I mean, like stuff like Borderlands, like wasn't that big. Like, it wasn't a AAA thing. It was that was mid tier at the start, and then it became AAA afterwards because it went absolutely viral.
I mean, if you look at games like Dragon Ball FighterZ, so that was not a AAA title. That was an anime fighter that gained ridiculous success, and now it has become a AAA fighting game.
Yeah.
And then you look at games, like even smaller games, like Cuphead. That game went from being just a little indie game to being one of the best examples of its genre, and now considered an upper tier in gaming.
Yeah.
So I think the next big thing, I think AAA gaming is on the decrease. I think indie games are going to be the next big thing, or quickly becoming the next big thing, because it's all passion projects. It's all projects that people invested in, because you look at Sonic Mania, that started off as a fan game, but then Sega went, no, you guys know what you're doing. We're gonna take you to the show. You're going to be able to make your own Sonic game. Yeah. And you get games like Hollow Knight, which is just, again, another passion project. All the animations and stuff, it's all hand-drawn animations. It takes a fuck ton of time to come out, but you see where the time has went, because they just say they develop a game for 4 years. You see where each day of the 4 years comes from.
Yeah. From,
initial development, planning, project planning, then you go into like more substantial, then maybe you get sound effects, Foley effects. You see where the time goes, which is where I think Anthem went wrong, because they had 4 years and did nothing.
Totally, like, by the sounds of it, they pissed it up on the wall.
Yeah, they just thought, I'm guessing they do refer to this whole BioWare magic thing. Just, the BioWare magic will kick in.
Yeah.
They just rely on that. That's not a good thing.
It comes up recurring, like, it's a recurring thing in different studios from different people who just keep saying, they kept talking about this BioWare magic, but half of the BioWare magic people have gone now. And that's the thing, is that, like, there was at one point, like, they realised several leads had gone, but they said it was like a constant, like, churn of people, like a revolving
just
door.
Revolving door, people going in and out.
And at that point, if you're trying to make something, you're trying to make a game, you're trying to teach people about like the Frostbite engine, tell people how to like code certain things and make certain things work, you can't pass on that information. At that point, you're fucked.
Yeah, it's the same in the movie industry. You can't expect an amazing film product to come out if one director, take Justice League for example, Zack Snyder filmed 2/3 of the movie. For the final third, they brought in Joss Whedon, and Joss Whedon did some reshoots, and that totally breaks the continuity of the movie, because Batman's serious and stoic. Wonder Woman is kind of the same thing. Same with Flash. Well, Flash is still a bit of a joker. Everyone's quite serious. Then you get to the last act of the movie where the Joss Whedon kicks in and everyone's cracking jokes. Batman all of a sudden is making people laugh and cracking jokes. No, that totally ruins the movie. The best way to do it, and it sounds very expensive. It sounds like probably what executives don't want to hear. If you're switching hands, the best thing to do is start again.
Yeah.
Pull a Nintendo with Metroid Prime 4. People were transitioning, people were going from different studios. Nintendo put out a press statement saying, we're not happy with the current direction of Metroid Prime 4, and we have so many moving pieces in terms of, employees moving from different studios. We're just going to start again. We hope you understand.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, at this point is what EA and BioWare should have done with Anthem. Just said, guys, we're starting again. We're not happy with the way this is going. And if they were to do that, or even just come out with an Anthem 2, I think it would probably be fairly successful, because they've learned a huge fucking lesson from this game.
Yeah. My thing though is that with this being an EA run studio, I don't think they're going to make it. I know it's BioWare, and come on, who's going to shut down BioWare? Yeah. EA would do it.
Yeah, EA would do it in a heartbeat.
EA would just, like, they are so cold and calculating, but the problem is that then takes away a serious developer, takes away a serious player. I don't think...
Yeah, but I think if they shut down, BioWare would reopen under a different name. They would do a Platinum Studios, because Platinum Studios started off as Clover Studios or Team Beautiful for Capcom, Hideki Kamiya wasn't happy with the type of games that he was being told to make at Capcom. Him and his entire development staff split off and made Platinum Studios, and Platinum Studios are ridiculous in terms of they make whatever they want, and they're making stupid money.
Just baller move.
Yeah, just absolute baller move. I mean, they made Bayonetta. They actually don't need to make another game. They made so many fucking good games that they're pretty much good.
They can send their kids to kids college on the tie-in money alone.
Yeah, like Bayonetta, from the money that they made from Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, that hack and slash with Raiden in it. Yeah. Pretty sure they could send their kids to college.
Yeah, that was the game that looked so interesting. Even I was gonna play it. I don't give a fuck about Metal Gear.
I couldn't care less about Metal Gear. I'm not a stealth game guy.
Yeah,
my style in games is more like Lancelot and Monty Python, when he just runs into the castle and just starts fucking knifing everybody. It's like because he sees one of the characters that leaning at the window. It's like, that princess in distress. So he goes in and just starts knifing everybody, fucking cutting everyone. That's how genuinely I like to play games. That's when I have the most fun with it. And Metal Gear Rising: Revenge really scratched that itch, because just everything can be attacked. Yeah. Everything can be cut in half, and if you slice the arm comes right off. It's fucking awesome. But obviously it's robots, so you don't see any blood. But it's still pretty fucking good. If you hit an enemy that has blood comes out. So it's pretty satisfying.
Yeah, that's that article on Anthem. It takes a while to read. I had stuff going on in the background.
Yeah,
I would just kind of read that for chuck through about 1,000 words of it, highlight where I was, and go back and watch 5 minutes of a YouTube video, and come back and just kind of I had to give myself the reward to keep going through what is
the incentive. Yeah,
it's a very dry article. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I keep seeing that Jason Schreier guy around the place, and he keeps popping up on recommended Twitter things. I don't even know who he is, and I always assumed he was a business guy. His photo is him in a business suit. I'm like, you're a games journalist. The journalism part, you can take it as seriously as you want, but the games part needs to come first, mate. You should be kind of not like a gamer. Fucking hate the term, the air quotes gamer. Yeah. Gamers rise up. Fucking Christ.
Oh, what was the thing? They did this thing on YouTube. They got a whole bunch of famous YouTubers.
Yeah.
To say I'm a gamer in promotion of, people that are gamers, trying to break the whole gamer stigma that gamers just sit in their parents' basement playing video games. So they got people like iJustine, they got all these pretty female YouTubers just to say I'm a gamer. These people have never played a game in their lives. Yeah. Going on the phone and playing Candy Crush, that doesn't fucking count as playing a game.
Pretty sure iJustine can whip a lot of ass on certain Nintendo games, but okay.
I don't know who iJustine is. I know the name and I know what she looks like, but I have no idea what kind of videos she puts out.
She's in a fitness contest with Bernie Burns.
All right.
And is destroying him. He says that they have an Apple Watch, and she goes, you've got an Apple Watch, you want to tag up and be fitness buddies and stuff, and they're sharing information over the app.
Mm-hmm.
And he says every fucking day I wake up and she's already done a 90-minute yoga session, and then is out for a 10-mile run, and then is back, and then she's doing some weights and doing kettlebell classes. It's she's a fucking monster. But she's one of the ones that it would be she's OG YouTube, and when she's saying I'm a gamer, I guarantee you she is fitting in some game time from now and then, and stuff like the Switch and the PSP would be more her style. I don't think she's got a full on fucking battle station sitting home, although if she did.
To be fair, it's probably just me generalising, because she looks way too pretty to be spending time playing video games.
She was kind of interesting, she's one of the original YouTube personalities I'm actually interested in.
That was a very douchey statement to say, wasn't it? Oh, she's way too pretty to be playing video games. She's probably out there banging.
Total banging chads.
She's just out there banging chads.
Goddamn Stacey's. Fucking hate that MGTOW shit. So funny though. All the weird incel stuff that keeps cropping up, and it's incels were the big thing for a while. Furries are coming into popular consciousness.
Furries?
Yeah. Furries are the guys in the fursuits. And all the weird shit they get up to, and the fact that it's not sexual. When you make a hole you can fuck through in your suit, it's a sexual thing, okay?
Yeah, if you can slide into that.
Yeah, if you can hit...
if you can just
hit the image.
If you can just hit that with a little slide.
Yeah, just slide in the DMs. No, furry Twitter's vile, though. Oh, holy shit. You get some normal stuff on there, people who just, draw furry art. People who just I like this little character, I wanted to have, a little Skater Fox guy.
Yeah, that's...
okay,
weird.
Cool. You're a 15-year-old. You don't know where the fuck's going. You want a little furry blue Skater Fox? Go ahead. And you get somebody underneath going, I want to fuck it. Seriously, Ben, can you draw it bent over?
Yeah, could you draw it with his ass hanging out? I want to fuck it.
Some of my favorite, like, it was a response to like a somebody made this drawing of a woman, and it was like really gorgeous. And then one of the top responses was, "Can you draw her farting?"
That's nasty.
It's a meme response.
Just on the whole, like, I want to fuck it thing. I have seen that when they released the NECA figures of what the monsters were going to look like in the new Godzilla movie, the Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yeah,
people seen Mothra, is a female monster, and she had these really really big thick legs.
Yeah.
First comment was just, "I'm a fuck it." Not even, "I want to fuck it." It's just, "I'm a fuck it."
I will. There will be no stopping me.
It's like translation, "Gentlemen, I shall fuck this moth."
I don't
know.
Keep an eye on it. It's funny. Some of it's funny. Some of it's really disturbing. There was one guy who has some really bad fetishes, and people seem to like it keeps cropping up. And maybe it's just where I am, like where I just keep seeing all this weird shit. Like I love sitting in this weird intersection of absolute madness. Looking down, like, ooh, what's going on today? What's this?
You're just sitting there in the lifeguard's chair, just going, "Oh, hello."
Oh, look at that, the drowning puppy.
I shall get him later. The furries are talking. I'm a fuck it.
I'm gonna fuck that drowning puppy. I'm gonna go save the drowning puppy.
Can you draw it farting? Oh, that was a weird rabbit hole we went. Oh no, that's a weird rabbit hole we went down.
And now we're a fuck it.
Now I'm a fuck it.
Speaking of animals, I do actually have to say what of it is. I watched a couple episodes of.
I was going to talk about Ultraman, but
well, it's Netflix, so it'll tie in.
yeah, we'll tie it together.
Netflix has Our Planet, which is David Attenborough series.
Yeah,
And it's, David Attenborough is one of the few things. I don't pay a TV license because I don't watch live television.
yeah.
I only
You
watch.
don't need to.
No, you do.
No, I'm saying you don't need to. You don't need to pay for digital TV anymore.
I know, but
you just get Netflix, and you get better content on it.
that's what I'm doing. Like I only watch.
I'm agreeing with you.
I only watch
I'm saying you
streaming
don't really need
content.
it.
I watch Netflix. I watch Funimation now. I watch Crunchyroll, and I watch like YouTube.
Yeah.
As long as I don't watch live events, and I can't be proven to watch live events. Which I'm sorry, I'm just not gonna watch soccer on YouTube. Just not gonna happen. Not feeling it. But David Attenborough documentaries are one of the few things I still miss. So when it's Netflix has BBC like programs up in there, like the old like Frozen Planet and stuff, and Blue Planet. But Our Planet was something he did with Netflix, and it's different. It feels like it's very much addressed to climate change deniers. Like it used to be like you'd get little mentions of it now and again, like deforestation was more of a thing back in the day because he would be in these like tropical environments. He'd go down to like Africa and he'd say, you know, this jungle used to be like 100 miles that way. Now that's all farmland. But now it is straight up. People, we are killing the planet. We need to change this now.
Is that related to the meme where it was David Attenborough saying maybe we human beings should take a step back and allow nature to take over? Then all the captions, all the comments underneath it was just, "Do not give this motherfucker the Infinity Stones. We will all die."
But he's been doing this, and his first episode. We watched like 4 of them. We were like, oh, we'll just throw on one. But it's David Attenborough. He's a very Moorish person. Like you're never going to be fed
very
up.
charismatic dude.
And we watched like 4 episodes back to back. It's the same. Like we were joking about this at the start, and we said the key to David Attenborough, like his opening monologue, as it shows you like this variety of like different environments they're going to go to throughout the series, because like each episode is its own like documentary on a certain like type of environment. So I think it's episode 2 is the Frozen Planet. So it's like all these different places where it's like icy tundra. People like you can't live there because it's like -40.
Yeah,
it's all the usual stuff of like wolves and caribou and polar bears and penguins and stuff. And then episode 3 was like coastal reefs and stuff. So like the coastal environment and all these different places. And then 4 was the jungle. But the opening thing we were talking about, like, I think the key David Attenborough documentaries is David Attenborough's voice and footage that looks so good, it's like, it's fake. Like, that can't be real. That can't be a real thing you just showed me. It's clearly fake.
Apparently, if you watch it in 4K, your brain will just melt. Like Ark of the Covenant, Indiana Jones shit, where your face will just melt off.
Well,
Ridiculous.
I don't think we were watching it in like the true 4K, but we had it on Netflix. We had it on a 4K television, so it was like,
You rocking a 4K TV here?
yeah,
Oh, cool.
that and well, this is it at my brother's, and it's
Alright,
like
yeah.
it's an even like he's even bigger 4K TV. He's actually got like a proper sized living room, and I'm like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like just the breadth of colors, like the cameras that he has are stupid. Like the depth of field he can get, like on an elephant as it comes through, they can track the kind of focus of the elephant as it comes forward, and then everything else behind it just softly fades away out of focus, and it like so you see it kind of advance forward with the elephant. Like, this is fucking nonsense. How did somebody
Ridiculous.
film that? That's bullshit. You're sitting there going, it's fake. It's the only way. This is all CGI. I can prove it. I don't think I can prove it, but I'm pretty sure I can prove it because this is clearly, there's no way somebody sat with a camera and did this. This is bullshit.
It's like no one got it to this level.
There's an episode of them at like this is where I'm going to talk about how I'm a really bad person. But there's a section about flamingos, and there's apparently these salt lakes where there's just like an entire lake that's dried out. There's a ton of salt there, a ton of algae there as well. Once every 10 years, hell unleashes itself in a rainstorm onto this salt lake. It becomes back to life. The algae pop back up. They kind of start just kind of breeding and spreading out, and then the flamingos show up. They just know. That's weird. How do they know? Does one just happen to fly over and go, oh shit,
The water's back.
I'll go back and tell the others.
I'm gonna go get the boys.
But they like the flamingos show up, and the lake is so salty, predators don't cross it. They don't trust it. They just see the water, they taste it, they go, ugh.
I ain't having that.
I'm not doing that. But the flamingos love it. Like they eat the algae that are in there, and they're obviously like very salty and stuff. So they build their nests out there, and they have this weird like little structure where it's literally just a stump. They have this weird muddy stump that they just have their eggs on. And they hatch the flamingo babies, and they eventually the lake will dry out because it's a salt basin. So it's way too much surface area. It's in Africa. The sun shows up, heats up all the water, evaporates it all out. The salt remains, and the flamingos have to leave to go back to like more. The babies can't fly, so the flamingos fuck off. A few of the flamingo adults have to like escort thousands of flamingo like chicks across the thing, and they're all at different stages because they hatch early. They grow up quite a bit, and they can eat a little bit of the krill and stuff, or the algae. Sorry, or just this. The third episode is all about the frozen place, all about krill, and all I've thought about is krill for the last like 24 hours. But they eat all the algae, and some of them grow up to be quite big. Some of them are the runts of the litter, and this is where it gets bad because they have to march them across the salt flats, and you can see like I was watching the main thing of them leave, and you ever seen like that footage of like a Chinese farmer like herding ducks through the city? You're like, dude, you're herding like 5,000 fucking ducks. Why? It's just a never-ending stream of ducks. Same thing, but with flamingo chicks. And I was like one that was kind of trailing at the back. I was like, look at the little runt. He's gonna be the fucking last one. He's not making it. He's dead.
He's getting eaten.
No. He kind of catches up, and he keeps falling behind him. And then the actual runt of the litter shows up, and it's struggling, and it's staggering, and it's kind of walking along. And you zoom in, and you see that the salt is starting to crystallize around its like calves, and it's weighed down, and it's not moving as fast. It's not being cared for because there's like 5 adults for like the thousands of chicks.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, that one's a little bit small. It's a bit shitty. Like,
Yeah.
it's gonna die.
Defective.
But the little one's walking along, and it just like it gets to a point where it kind of has to go over like a little bump in the dirt, and it falls over. I lost my shit. And it was me. It's me, Stephen, Michael, and his fiancée Lucy, and they're all sitting watching it. We're all just having dinner, and I watch it, and a little flamingo falls over, and it lands face first because it can't catch itself. And it just bunk over on the dirt, and I'm like, oh my god! And I just start laughing, and then Stephen loses it as well, and then Michael and Lucy are like, oh my god, what the fuck was that? And we were sitting there laughing and pissed ourselves and just fucking losing it. And Steve was like, I'm so glad you laughed because that was too funny. Like, that was funny, but I didn't want to be the first one to laugh at it.
Yeah, you don't want to be the one to break the silence.
I'll charge through that door. Thank you very much, sir.
I will take that.
I am a horrible piece of shit. I'll admit to that on mic, but there was a moment that got me. they were talking about the ice caps melting, and they were talking about the walrus population. They said normally walrus population stays up in the Arctic Circle, and they will actually they'll fish in the North Sea, but they'll go north, like even further north, because it's closer to the fishing spots.
Yeah.
And they'll chill out in the Arctic Circle, but they've started coming to Russia because it's too far. Like, it's closer to go to Russia than it is to go up north again.
Yeah.
The only problem is there are millions of them trying to fit on like isolated rocky beaches, and there's no way for them all to fit on there. So some of them have started to climb up the cliffside. And they point out that this is a 1-ton animal that is not designed to climbing 80 meters. And you're like, whoa, that's fucking impressive. Like, how do they do that? Like, you can see them, and they've got the footage of them climbing up the slope, and they just, one step at a time, they just kind of flop themselves up the hill. And you're like, dude, this is fucking nuts. And then they show you the footage from the top. You're like, wait a minute. How are they getting down? And you're like, there's no way in fuck they can climb back down that. Like, they're just not designed for it. They're a slug, basically. They're an overly muscly slug. And then they show you the footage, and they're showing you the footage of them like panning across cliffs, and you're like, oh no. Because the music starts to build up. You can hear the tense music cranking up.
The music starts spelling.
And you're like, oh no, oh no, oh no. And we were like, they're not going to show you this, are they? They do. They show you footage of about 10 walrus falling 80 meters off the cliffs to just annihilate themselves in the rocks below. Because they just slip, or they're not designed for it, or they think, I got it, I'll climb down like this, or here, and then they just like slip and they just start falling. It's horrific. I was watching it, I was like, this is like, I kind of wanted to laugh a little bit, but then like it goes away, like when you see the impact, and they have some of them, you see them falling down end over end or rolling down the hills, and then they hit rocks and they just bounce and they like land and they don't move very well afterwards, and you're like, that's dead.
Yeah,
and
there's no way that survived that.
There's one that just goes off the edge. It drops like 40 meters just into the sea, but like you look at it and go, that's a 1-ton animal. That's not enough splash. That hit shallow sea with rocks on it. Yeah. Like, fucking Christ. Holy, like, this series is beautiful. It's phenomenal. It's amazing. That walrus scene should come with a fucking warning. I don't know.
Cautionary tale.
I don't look for trigger warnings on stuff. I think if you're going to, like, expose yourself to the world, you have to see the real world as it is.
Yeah.
I was not prepared for this shit. This is ridiculous. It's phenomenally well shot. The tracking shots of the walrus dying are fantastic. I was really worried when they showed that they talked about polar bears, who are the mascots for ice caps melting. Yeah. Unfortunately, but they show a bear just walking up and try to figure out what's going on. Like, there's just dead walrus lying on the shore, and the bear comes up and it's like, "The fuck's going on around here?" It sees the walrus and it's like, lying on the beach. There's like 5 of them in a pile where they've all fallen off the cliff. And it starts jumping on it. Almost like it's giving it CPR. Like, it starts jumping on it, like pushing on its chest with its forearms. And it can't believe there's just a dead walrus lying here. Like, so fresh. So fresh in the prime of life. What could possibly have happened? Because it's so weird that, like, these animals are trying to adapt to this issue of climate change. And some of them just aren't going to make it. And I was really worried they were going to show the bear just going, dinner's dinner.
Well, free food.
Free food, yum. I will say, though, that the walrus scene, when it happens, you're not ready to see it. It's a walrus.
Yeah, it does sound like something you couldn't prepare yourself for. Because it's a walrus. Like, they look enough like seals, you'll be fine. Like, no, then you just see this massive animal. Walrus are fairly vicious fucking animals at the best times. You still don't want to see that thing fall 80 meters. Yeah. And onto sharp rocks. And
they show you it's this living community of like 1-ton animals with like 3-foot tusks that, I mean, yeah, they could kill you, but they're probably not going to kill you. I mean, if you fuck up, they'll kill you. But, I mean, come on, it's a walrus. What could possibly go wrong in a walrus's life? Oh, shit.
Turns out plenty.
Turns out gravity.
Yeah. Who knew gravity would be a big thing's worst enemy?
But I mean, watching it in the moment there with like 4 other people, like, as I say, I'm the dickhead. I'll be the first one laughing. Guarantee it. Almost every time. At this point, I couldn't, like, nobody just said anything. We're all just sitting there, like, mouth agape and did we just see that? Was that really just a
That a real
montage
thing?
of falling walruses? Like, it seems like a fake sentence.
Yeah.
It's how like amazing a David Attenborough show is. Not only is the footage like fake, or has to be fake, like the sentences that come out of your mouth as a result of it must be fake.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Now, it's always David Attenborough documentaries have always been just fascinating to me. Just how he gets like the footage that he gets, it must be fake. He must be doing some kind of wizardry to get footage that good. And it's always just the subject matter that he manages to bring, because he makes you think about things that you wouldn't normally think about. And there's not many people that can do that. It's just here we see this exotic animal. It may look beautiful. It may look like a prime specimen, but it is a vicious little bastard.
Yeah.
Like, it will kill anything that comes across its path. And like, here's this cute little like wildcat. Oh, look how adorable it is. It is the most successful hunter in this this area.
It has a 95% kill ratio.
Yeah.
That's not technically possible, but somehow this cat does.
There was a video that I seen. I think it might have been from one of David Attenborough's documentaries. It was up on the BBC Facebook page, and it was, here is this wildcat, and it looks like a standard house cat, tiny little thing, big eyes. Like, it looks like a kitten, very small cat. It has a success rate of 65%.
Yeah.
In the wild.
That's ridiculous
That is
numbers.
scary.
That's LeBron James numbers,
That's
people.
LeBron wishes he was as good as this tiny little cat.
This absolute monster. They call this the blender with fur.
They call this the fucker upper.
Yeah, you want to talk about Ultraman.
I did want to talk about Ultraman
Because both of those are streaming on Netflix.
Yep, that's the only link that we're going to put out.
Segue.
But, Ultraman, it was it's a series that was on my radar for a bit, because I'd always known what Ultraman was, because I'd watched some old Godzilla stuff, and you seen this giant red and silver. You would assume that it was a robot, but there's other things in there. But you'd see him and he'd do this weird cross arms and fire a beam from what looked like it was his shoulder.
Right.
But it was just the way he crossed his arms. It was actually coming out of the space in between the cross and the arms, like where the wrists met.
Yeah.
The beam was coming out from there. But it was always this cool program, and especially if you watched Power Rangers when you're younger, you thought, that's just Power Rangers. I'll watch more of that.
Yeah.
But this new series that's out on Netflix, it picks up from the original series, and there's been a lot of different Ultraman iterations.
If you start Googling Ultraman, you're going to find a lot of productions.
1966 it started.
Yeah.
50 years. They did a shit ton in 50 odd years.
Yeah. They've made
they
a
got
whole lot of TV.
Yeah, they got their money's worth. It's just this whole phenomenon of tokusatsu television in Japan. It's where you get your Kamen Riders, your Power Rangers, and all these other different fucking things. Japanese just love it.
Yeah.
I
If
mean,
you
to an
remember,
extent,
I talked about like SSSS Gridman. If you're listening to the episode of that, or we did a podcast where we talked about that, this is the type of thing that show is based on.
Yeah, it's hugely popular in Japan. So this series Ultraman that's on Netflix, it picks up from where the original Ultraman, whose name is Shin Hayata, he's picked up. It's him in his sort of later years. He's now with a group called the Scientific Patrol, which were the original group from the original Ultraman, but now they're more focused on doing other things, using their intelligence for other purposes other than just defending from aliens.
Yeah.
But then he finds out that his son has what they call the Ultraman factor, which means he can fuse with the alien entity that is Ultraman.
Yeah.
And he can use Ultraman's power. And they find this out in the most bizarre way possible. So Shin Hayata, who's the original Ultraman, I should mention that he is the original Ultraman, but it's messed with his memory, so he doesn't know that he's Ultraman.
Okay.
They never explain it, but they just say, my memory is gone. Then
My memory's gone, but I just know I'm a genius scientist.
yeah,
So
no, Shin Hayata is talking to some other member of the Science Patrol, and he's just saying, my memory's gone. I can't remember anything from the old days. Was I in the Science Patrol? Like, yeah, you're a big part of the Science Patrol. Foreshadowing. Then eventually they talk about it. I'm exaggerating this for effect, but at one point he just goes, dude, you were Ultraman. He goes, no, I wasn't. What are you talking about? Then he punches a hole in the wall. Yeah, I was Ultraman.
oh yeah, I can throw a mean right hook.
But yeah, so Shin and his son Shinjiro are walking through the Ultraman museum because he's this massive figure in Japan at the time. And the son's running around all these different exhibits going, that's when Ultraman fought this kaiju, that's when Ultraman fought that kaiju, that's when Ultraman threw a missile up into the sky and saved this district of Japan. And he goes up the floors of the Ultraman Museum to about maybe the third or fourth floor and just falls over the barrier.
Right.
And you hear a thud, like a massive audible thud. Then Shin Hayata goes down and goes, my son. And the other people around him going, your son fell 3 stories or 3 or 4 stories. Do you want us to get help? And he's like, no, my son's fine. And the kid's just sitting there going, ow, like, make it. That's all the noise he makes.
Yeah. Like, he makes the noises of a kid who just fell a little bit.
Yeah, who fell and maybe scuffed his knee.
Yeah.
And the kid's going, no, he's fine. My son's not Ultraman. Leave him alone.
3 stories? What? You're crazy.
Yeah,
No.
that's fine.
He was right here with me. Totally, yeah. It's fine. Don't
And
worry
then
about it.
and then they flash forward. Shinjiro's in high school and he's noticing that he's developing these kind of powers. He can jump from building to building like with ease.
He's somehow like Spider-Man.
Yeah, he can break concrete by landing on it. The typical anime stuff.
Yeah.
And of course he has the finding your power scene where you can't quite control it. He breaks a guy's leg. Somebody goes to kick him. He catches the foot and he just turns his hand to the right.
Yeah.
And he's hearing an audible crunch. I'm like, you just broke that guy's leg.
I do like the little bit that anime will take it that bit further than like a Western superhero movie.
Yeah.
Like a superhero, like, he'll catch a baseball that was like, he'll jump too high and catch a baseball.
Yeah.
Or he'll like, it's a dumb example, but
Yeah, you just said Gohan.
I was gonna say like in the Twilight movies, the reason like they figure out that someone at the school is a vampire is because he stops a car.
Yeah.
Like he stops a car from hitting someone. Like it's always like there's never a casualty, whereas the anime's like, no, just break that kid's leg, fuck him up.
He's a douche. He was picking.
Fuck these kids.
he was picking on the idol girl, but he finds out that he's got these different powers. Then an old enemy returns to the scene, so the original Ultraman goes to try and fight him, but he finds out that his Ultraman suit isn't working in the same way. He can't call down the Ultraman ability, or he can't fuse with his spirit or the entity the way he used to.
Yeah.
And then he finds out that the kid has the Ultraman factor. They have a suit made for him, and he can tap into it. And then he fights the enemy. Then that kind of kicks off the whole thing. And it goes on. He meets different versions of Ultraman that are based on subsequent sort of TV shows. He meets a character called Dan Moroboshi, who is the cool, edgy Ultraman called Ultraman 7. And he has a samurai sword, and he's better than you, Shinjiro.
Ultra Edge Man.
Ultra Edgelord 7. And he's the typical, I'm better than you, and I'm going to prove it, but I'm actually worse because I have to play catch up to you, and you were the original, and I have to make sure that you know that you're the original, but I'm better than you. I have a sword, and I'm cool. He's a pretty poor character, pretty one-dimensional character. And then there's
If I wasn't cooler than you, then why would I have these sunglasses?
he has glasses. He does the kind of pushing the glasses up on the bridge of the nose
no.
thing. But he does it in the way where if the glasses are down here, he uses the thumb and middle finger and just pushes them back up constantly, just to kind of like, fuck.
Yeah, I'm fuck.
I'm fuck.
Yeah, it's staying in there now.
He does the
Not taking that out.
great. I love this raw footage. Anyway, he does the douchebag like thumb and middle finger pushing the glasses up, just to kind of say like, I am your superior type thing. Then there's the other Ultraman Ace, who's this kid who has robotic limbs to make himself stronger.
Okay.
And he's the kind of bright, cheery one. It's just he calls I don't know what he calls Moroboshi, but he calls Shinjiro Big Brother, and he's always just like, Big Brother, there's an alien, let's go fight him. But he makes it very, very obvious that it's like, I'm not calling you Big Brother because I see you as a big brother. I'm calling you Big Brother because you were the first Ultraman out of all of us. So that's why you're Big Brother. Okay. But I feel they put that in there for the English speaking audience. That line was not in the original Japanese. They added that in just to say, like, and you know how in most animes you get the quotation marks at the bottom. It's like One-san, and this term means not brother, but person of respect or older person of respect.
Yeah.
I think that they just took that and made him read that line so that us dumb Westerners wouldn't go, hey, that's not his big brother. They're totally different.
So, are you watching this with sub or dub?
Dub.
Okay, good. There's a dub version.
There are some pretty good stand-up performances. Moroboshi is voiced by a guy called Liam O'Brien, who has done some. You could probably trip over games that he's been in. He was in. He played the title character in Asura's Wrath. He played Asura in that. I'm trying to think of what stuff that you've seen him in. He's in Critical Role. If you ever seen any of that stuff.
No.
All right. Well, I'll get on to Critical Role in a minute because the D&D bug has bit me hard.
Right.
I want to talk about that in a second. But off the top of my head, I can't think of other stuff.
This is made by Studio Polygon, and those guys have a great kind of. I don't think they're actually using exclusive like Funimation people, but they have a great roster of people they go to, and they've got a good eye for people they want to have in certain roles. And
the person who voices Shin Hayata, the father of the new Ultraman, is Fred Tatasciore, the guy that voiced Damon Baird in Gears of War.
Damn.
who I think is just tapped as the dad in anime now, or in cartoons.
Where Christopher Sabat is not available.
Where Christopher Sabat is not available, we're going to get the guy that voices the Hulk. Because that'll work. But yeah, some really, really good voice styles in it. Christina V is in there as well.
Yeah.
Fucking love Christina V.
She's popping up a lot more now.
Yeah, for good reason. Yeah. She's a really good voice actress.
She voiced Darkness in Konosuba's English dub. It's hilarious.
Yeah. She was also Killua in Hunter x Hunter.
All right.
Which not that many people know, but because I know people that are huge Hunter x Hunter fans and they didn't know. Huge Hunter x Hunter fans and also huge Christina V fans and they didn't know that was Killua. But the worst performance of the entire show has to be Shinjiro, the main character.
Oh god!
Every line that he delivers is just say he's going to the science patrol and he's meeting Moriboshi, instead of being maybe Adley there. Oh hey, there's Moriboshi. He goes, oh hey, Moriboshi. Like all his lines are just so stunted and it's very monotone. It's kind of. I get that you're meant to be the main character. You're not really meant to have that much emotion, so that the watcher can kind of put themselves.
Oh, he's the self-implant character.
The self-implant character, but emote a bit. Everything just seems very flat. And
not every character has to be the great thespian character. Like nobody needs to hit like several different ranges in their voice.
You think the main character would be just kind of someone you could be invested in, someone that you want to succeed.
Yeah.
But in this one, there's no reason that you get invested in the character of Shinjiro other than he is Ultraman himself. But he's not the only Ultraman.
Yeah.
You get more invested in Ultraman Ace. I think his name is Seiji, because he's just literally out to prove himself. He's out to just be a good guy and clear up his. I think he's part of an alien race that they were in the original Ultraman timeline or the original Ultraman series. They were the worst of the worst.
All right.
So he's out. He has the Ultraman factor and he's out to use it for good to kind of clear up his whole race's name. He's got a good story to him. Moriboshi's the same. He's out to prove that he's the best. Ultraman's just kind of, I guess I'll go fight aliens now.
If you want me to save the planet, I guess I'll go.
Yeah, I'll just flip my emo fringe out the way. I mean, I guess I'll do it. I don't have anything to do, man. But yeah, Shinjiro's probably the worst voice out of all of them. Like, because there was oddly enough, we kind of spoke about it a bit before we went on air. There's a character, I can't remember his name, but he's basically the man in the chair. That whenever Shinjiro is fighting, he's always the guy in the air saying, Shinjiro, you're fighting this thing has this weakness.
Oh, he's the kind of tactical...
Yeah, the tactical dude.
Tactical comms guy.
Yeah. He's an alien, which is weird because he has this weird alien head but business suit from below.
Thank you, anime, for yet another great idea.
It's fantastic. He's probably one of the better characters, but he is deliberately monotone. He's deliberately he has very slow speech. He kind of gives more of a human performance than Shinjiro's voice actor. And I'm trying to think, the guy who voiced Shinjiro is somebody called Josh Hutcherson. I think he was in a few of the Hunger Games movies. Have you ever seen any of those?
Nah.
Or have you ever dragged your brain through one of those movies?
Nah, I mean...
It's not great.
I like the girl playing Katniss Everdeen, but at the same time, yeah.
Yeah, they're not great. The Hunger Games movies aren't great, and his performance in Ultraman, not that great either. But ultimately, it's a good, solid show. There's a lot of really good action scenes. The animation from Studio Polygon is fucking great.
They're one of those studios I'm really glad that if you watch Knights of Sidonia.
I watched a bit of Knights of Sidonia. The mech battles in that were tasty.
But the thing is, like, every time you see it, like, there's stuff that's not quite right. Some of the stuff isn't great. Some of the stuff needs work. But the thing is, you see the work.
Yeah, you see the improvement.
Yeah, and it's been great to watch them from, like, way back. Like, for the last 5-10 years, 5-7 years, something like that. Maybe not that long, but, like, seeing them grow, like, you can watch the studio grow and see them, like, that means there's effort involved. They're still learning and still growing. And it means that when they do something big like Ultraman, like, I looked at, like, I was like, just make sure I've got it added to my list. Saw a couple of the episodes titles, I'm like, that looks way more colourful than anything they've done before.
Because it's set in Japan. Like, it's not a version of Japan. It's basically it's set in Japan. Yeah. There's a lot of sort of big bright colours. All the buildings look, like they would look in Japan. It's all very, I don't want to say photorealistic because it's an anime, but they've got it as close as they could. Yeah. It's really well done. But
that's good because one of the things that it's really kind of held them back as far as like design has gone for, is that when you look at what they've done, like Knights of Sidonia, they've done Blame, they've done the Godzilla movies. All of those are like...
Didn't they do Ajin as well?
Ajin as well.
That was very dark.
Ajin, but like it's all kind of totalitarian like establishment societies where everyone dresses the same, everyone looks the same. It's all very kind of grey, and there's never a chance to let anything like shine through. Like I think they'd look a lot better in colour. Some of the like scenes from the Godzilla movies where there's like the characters who have like different skin tones come out, and you're like, it's not just because they're different coloured, but because they look so different to the humans who live in space.
Yeah,
they stand out and they look like gorgeous. They look amazing. You're like, oh wow, they could really like if they brought more colour into their life.
Yeah, one of the better parts of the Godzilla movies were the animation, the drawing style, and some of the action scenes. That was the better parts of that movie.
Yeah.
The worst parts is when they just, let's go to Mecha Godzilla and make a Mecha Godzilla City and make a Mecha Godzilla. You know what? We got the weapon systems. We don't need to make a cool giant Mecha Godzilla.
Nobody wants to see that, right? And you're like, please let us see
Every single fan just glued to the TV going, motherfucker, are you serious? You promised us some Mecha Godzilla.
Did you just cancel Mecha Godzilla in front of my face?
Motherfuckers. But no, that's another podcast in of itself, me moaning about the Godzilla movies again. But sticking with Netflix, I watched The Dirt, the Motley Crue biopic.
Yeah,
fucking fantastic. Although from last week, I remember, I do have a couple of sort of points that I need to clarify. I think in the last episode I said that Nikki Sixx was played by Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah,
that's Tommy Lee, played by Machine Gun Kelly. And Nikki Sixx is played by a guy called Douglas Booth, who I don't know what the hell else he's been in. I don't actually know who he is. And I did get Mick Mars. He is played by Ramsay Bolton. Game of Thrones, that dickhead. But he is probably one of the best parts of the fucking movie.
Yeah.
He's so fucking good. He plays the character so straight. Because Mick Mars was always the voice of sanity in a group of just chaos. Because you've got Nikki Sixx, who was just this rambunctious partier, just drugs, the whole thing. He would just do it. He would party all night. Tommy Lee, him and Nikki just went blow for blow on most of it. Same with Vince Neil. I mean, Vince Neil was a notorious womanizer. And then you have Mick Mars just going, guys, I have respect for women. You all disgust me. Then because he had this disorder that basically his joints would stiffen up and his spinal column basically seized, so he couldn't turn his neck left or right.
Yeah.
So that's why when you see Motley Crue playing later in life, because he was quite old when he joined Motley Crue.
Yeah.
You see him, he would always be stiff. Like more often than not, he would have a stool or something behind him in case he wanted to sit down. But you would never move and jump around the stage like he used to back in the day. And that plays into The Dirt as well. So yeah, but having the guy that played Ramsay Bolton, because he has a Welsh name that I can't fucking pronounce, having him play Mick Mars in the way that he did was fucking perfect.
I'm trying to remember what his name is and I can't.
It's like Rayon, something like that. His real name sounds like a very much Game of Thrones name.
Yeah, sounds more Game of Thrones than Ramsay Bolton.
But yeah, it's Welsh names, man. They always come up there.
Yeah.
And also, I did say that when Vince Neil finds out that his daughter passed away, that he was in prison. That's not true. He was in prison, but the way the movie kind of cuts it's not too long after that he finds out his daughter has cancer. And that's what, by that point, he's kind of at his end of his rope with Motley Crue and he ends up leaving.
Right.
And then that kind of sends him into the spiral of depression. But that leads me quite nicely into my main point about the movie is they do cut out a lot of it and they do jump around, but for good reason. If you wanted to make an entire movie documenting everything from day one to the last day of Motley Crue's tour and career, that movie would span weeks.
Yeah.
There's so much that they did, and there's to go into every little detail of what they did would be horrendous. It would be an endeavour.
Yeah.
It'd be good to watch to see this warts and all.
Yeah. But you could cut it down to like 15 years.
Yeah.
And then maybe hard cut to like 25 years after that.
They do a great job. Jeff Tremaine, who directed the Jackass movies, directs The Dirt.
That name does sound familiar,
Yeah, and he's been trying to get The Dirt made since Jackass 1. But he's always been like, no, you don't, like, you've never had the approval of the band, and when you did have the approval of the band, there's no other movie studios that would pick this up. But apparently there just wasn't a market for it. But when he finally got a market for it, I think he made the right decision and just let me put the salient points up there. Let me just put like the highs, the lows, like the comebacks. Let me put the better part, like the most important parts up there. They do cut out certain bits and certain parts are condensed to make it more palatable for a movie, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Like the bit with Nikki Sixx's resurrection after he dies of an overdose for, I think it might be an hour.
Wow.
But after resuscitation and what have you, he comes back and in The Dirt, his account is he basically just walks home. He walks out of the hospital, signs himself out. He doesn't have shoes or anything on. He's got a tattered shirt, a nasty leather jacket, and like ripped as hell jeans. He's got a piece of paper in his hand. 2 fans find him outside and just go, "Holy shit, you're Nikki fucking Sixx." And he just kind of goes, okay, catch you later, guys. And they say, where the hell are you going? Let us drive you someplace. Where do you want to go? And he takes him home. He has no keys or anything on him. He gets to his front door, and I think it's his manager that's at his house. His manager has to let him in, and that's when they decide to get clean, and then the whole band gets clean, and that's where you get this reinvigoration as a Motley Crue. The reinvigoration happens like when he goes home. He says, "No, that's me. I'm going clean." That happens in the movie, but obviously they cut out the bit where he goes to the hospital and he gets sort of revived at hospital.
Yeah.
They more attribute it to the medic, which they do mention in the book as well. There's a medic that says, "I'm not letting Nicky fucking Six die on my watch."
Yeah.
But in the movie, the Dirt, he just kind of injects him with adrenaline, like 3 adrenaline needles straight to the heart, and he just bolts up.
That's one thing that when it comes to even just like first aid, like medical care intention is a process of time. Like you're trying to stop the body from dying, get it back on its feet, and then ensure that it stays alive. It takes a long time, and even like basic stuff, like nobody looks at a guy on the ground and goes, "Time for some adrenaline."
Yeah.
Like you'd have to be very like sure of what's going on to make that call. So like it's a bit of a shame they don't actually show that guy fighting.
They cut it down, but they don't show you the entire ambulance ride. But there's like little voiceovers and stuff that from the actors playing the parts. They just say, from what I've been told, that the guy was in the ambulance. He tried every which way to try and get me to come back. Yeah, and then eventually just Nicky fucking 16 down on my watch, 3 adrenaline needles. But that's probably my only gripe of the movie. They do jump about a bit. They do cut certain parts out, but it isn't all just to make it a 3-hour movie. It's all just to cut this massive legacy down to a 3-hour movie, and they do it pretty fucking awesomely.
I mean, we're talking about like cutting it down to a 3-hour movie. That's a big ass movie.
Yeah, that's a long time. It might not even be 3 hours. I think it might be 2, maybe an hour and 40 to be honest.
Oh right, well then if they're cutting it, because
I can't remember the runtime. I think it might be 3 hours. But.
Yeah, we're talking about like cutting things down, like cutting it down to like 90 minutes tends to lead to a lot of films having problems. But if this film survives those problems to still present Motley Crue in a certain way,
for as short as it, for as long, however long as the movie is, it does a perfect job of describing. Nicky Six had the worst childhood. Like he didn't know who his father left him when he was very young. His stepfather beat the shit out of him. This is all like fact. Nicky Six approved this. This is in the book.
Yeah.
His stepfather's beat the shit out of him. His mother was like very estranged. Was used to like get on his case and all this stuff. And the whole point about him, he cuts his arm open and goes to the police and say, "My mum did this just to try and get away with him." True. Like Nicky Six has had a terrible like childhood. They get all that right. I'm not sure. Like the Tommy Lee stuff, I want to believe that's true, just as a kind of contrast to the Nicky Six stuff. I need to read the book again, but Tommy Lee's upbringing was just his parents were completely supportive of like, you want to do the whole rock thing, go and do it.
Okay,
like, just go and do it. And when he's talking about, he's sitting on his bed just reading magazines or something like that, and his dad comes in and says, "Who's rocking tonight, kid?" And he just goes, "Dad, shut up." And there's just kind of like it was quite awesome to see, because you get the nasty story of Nicky Six, then you just get, oh, there's Tommy Lee. He was just a regular dude that wanted to play drums that ended up being one of the biggest rock or biggest metal bands of all time. Yeah. But I definitely, if you want to see, in my mind, a music biopic done right, watch The Dirt. Do not watch Bohemian Rhapsody, because I did watch them both.
That was our big contrast, but that's one of the things we're looking forward to, was showing Bohemian Rhapsody versus The Dirt. And
Bohemian Rhapsody was just very, very clean, very, very. Because for me, it kind of rushed through it in the same way The Dirt done it in a way to just get to the important points. Bohemian Rhapsody just skips over so much of the movie, or so much of the story, that by the time you get to the important points, you're just like, how did we get here? Like when you get to the formation of the band, which is one of the worst edited and shot scenes I've ever seen, with the different cuts. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I did read something where the editor said, I hang my head in shame when I see that, because it's just awful.
Oh, is that the like 60 cuts in 90
the 60
seconds?
cuts, and I think they're in a pub or something like that.
Yeah, they're outside a pub, like having a pint outside.
Yeah, and they're all kind of round this kind of circle table, and it cuts into different ones. I watched that and I just thought, holy shit, this is bad.
Yeah, we've talked about it on before, and we were ranting about it and being like, really fucking, like, we need 90 cuts to explain, like, these guys need to try and identify what Queen is, and they all just have to kind of nod, and we need to cut to every nod.
Yeah. The Wembley scene is pretty good, because apparently that they try to get that as close to the actual event as possible, but at the same time, it's very candy floss, very high, like saccharine, very high sheen, Whereas I think The Dirt presents a more complete story.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, there were certain parts of the Bohemian Rhapsody that were pretty fucking good that they do better than in The Dirt. Like the soundtrack, I'd say, presents a better cross section of Queen's back catalogue than, I mean, if you go to The Dirt, there's maybe they play 4 huge Motley Crue songs. They start off with Live Wire. You maybe hear Dr. Feelgood, Home Sweet Home, and Same Old Situation. Maybe a bit of Smoking in the Boys Room, but you don't really hear as many big belting tunes that you would hear from Motley Crue's back catalogue as you would hear in Queen's back catalogue. So, but ultimately, I would say if you're into any kind of rock music, I'd say go The Dirt over Bohemian Rhapsody. I think that's just a clear. Someone went in there with a better vision that just presents the band much better. Whereas, is it Bryan Singer?
Yeah, I think Bryan Singer was directing it.
Yeah, the guy that made the fucking X-Men movies, made Bohemian Rhapsody. He went in there just going, let's just show the good parts. Let's just make this ultra polished.
Feel good film for the ages.
You don't really leave feeling good. You go in there just think, I already know all this stuff. We know the good stuff of what happened. When Queen was good, we already know how good it was. Show us the bad times. Show us the whole story.
Show us the honest truth that makes... Because this thing is like, the highs only feel good when you know how bad the lows were.
Yeah, when you see how low they got.
Yeah.
Which is why I think The Dirt works more, because you see when they were all abusing, when they were all on drugs, they were all like imbibing different sort of substances. You see how low they got, like waking up at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and just basically binge drinking and partying, taking drugs. Like that's their lowest, and then you see that makes the high when they get clean so much better.
Yeah,
and then it just works. I think it just works better, makes a better rounded movie. Whereas Bohemian Rhapsody, they never really go into the lows. They touch a bit on it. I'm not going to say they don't, but they dance around it.
They never at one point say, Freddie Mercury is dying of AIDS. And everybody goes, oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, like, because I don't remember it 100%. I did watch it when I was kind of tired. I probably will go back and watch it again. But like they wrap it up quite nicely. Like, they just kind of say, Queen would go on to play for several more years until Mercury's untimely death. I was like, nah, I'm not buying that. I'm not in it.
It's a bit too sweet on the ending there.
Yeah, it's a bit too sort of saccharine. But
so with that, I think we're going to do a bit of Here Comes a New Challenger.
Here comes a new challenger.
I've recently, after waiting for a bit too long, got into the Mortal Kombat 11 beta. I was expecting it to get my code for it on the 28th, because it only ran for 3 days. 28th, 29th, or 4 days. 28th to the 31st. I was expecting to get my code on the 27th. Turns out they sent it to me on the 22nd. And it went live a couple of days before if you pre-ordered it than it did if you got it otherwise. And
gotta love that tiered access strategy a lot of studios fuck with you on.
But it's a bit of a steep learning curve for me, I'm not going to lie. Because I've come from Street Fighter, which is all, quarter circles, like full half circles, and like different sort of directional bit inputs. It's been very hard to pick up Mortal Kombat for me.
Right.
I think I maybe would have benefited from going back to, say, Mortal Kombat XL and playing that just to get to grips with the combat style or the fighting style and the button inputs and what have you. But being this is my first Mortal Kombat game, I jumped into it with a sense of optimism. The customizations that you can do, how you can change each character, it gives different effects, and even just cosmetic effects to make your character look different. Pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
The animation styles or the different the way each different costume animates in the game's pretty cool, because if you get cut on the shoulder, if you're wearing a metal pauldron or a metal sort of shoulder plate, it'll scuff. But if you're wearing just, say, cloth, it'll cut through the cloth and you'll see part of your shoulder.
Oh yeah, I remember you saying that they're doing like terrible clothes.
Yeah, you show active damage. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it kind of weirded me out when I was playing as Jade, and I was fighting a character I was fighting Scorpion, and one of his moves is he cuts you across the chest.
Mm-hmm.
It like stabs you in the side, then he cuts you across the chest. When you did that with Jade, it cut right across, and you seen just like flesh, then breast. It was weird to see. I didn't like it. But it didn't really zoom in on it, but just when it stopped, I was like, I can see that. I don't like that. You could do without that.
Yeah.
But I went and played a few matches, but in each match I got fucking teabagged.
Right.
Like when the guys lining up for the fatality, they would just keep pushing down. It's like, you're fucking teabagging me.
We're really doing this Halo 1 bullshit.
It's still 2008.
God damn it.
But ultimately, I think Mortal Kombat 11 is going to be a very, very tough time for me to begin with. I think I'm going to have to go and play tutorials to get to grips with it. But it's a game though. They just keep announcing new character after new character. I think we had 3 new characters last week alone. A character called the Collector, who's someone in Shao Kahn's employ.
Oh, it's like a 6-armed character.
Yeah, he looks like Mumra from Thundercats, but with 6 arms.
Oh, okay.
So he actually does look pretty cool because he's got all this thing where he can hit you with one hand, like pull out a hook with the other and claw you, then just uppercut you with the rest of his arm. It's pretty fucking cool. Then you've got another character, Noob Saibot, which is all about sort of teleports and summoning a little sort of shadow clone that could kick people.
I think I've played a bit of Mortal Kombat games with Noob showing up in them, and I'm pretty sure he's pretty fucking he can get cheesed quite a bit.
Yeah, he's
with those teleports and just randomly dropping and just kicking you in the back of the head and then disappear again.
Yeah, he's got the teleports and he can also throw this scythe thing at you and then teleport into you. Like he uses that as a kind of anchor point. Like you throw that into you and then teleport in and just close the gap.
Okay.
So it's pretty useful. Then there's there's a character called Aaron Black who's a gunslinger bounty hunter.
Right.
And all of his moves just involve shooting the living shit out of you. But the reason why I'm not going to be playing this character is because he has a lever action rifle on his back and he can shoot 8 shots, and it's probably one of his more stronger attacks. But as soon as you've used 8 shots, if you want to use that again, you need to manually reload each individual bullet in.
Wow.
And in a fighting game, that is just never going to happen.
If you can interrupt it and then maybe rattle off, if you get halfway through it, just rattle off another 4.
Yeah.
Acceptable, but the whole 8 is just never going to happen.
I mean, you can break it so you can do 1 then shoot again.
Right.
But if you're doing a combo that involves you shooting 3 bullets and you need to sit and space out your character and just reload 3 bullets and then try and move back and try and reposition yourself, that's just going to be an absolute ball ache.
Nobody's going to do that. I don't.
I think Aaron Black's probably going to be one of the most least used characters in professional competition play.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen. But
except for that one guy who turns out to have found out the exact way to use him.
Yeah, he's found the frame perfect sort of jump cancels that you can do, and that's always my favorite part of watching competitive fighting games. Just seeing the people that have just tapped into the game in a certain way that just I can get this down to frame perfect timing that I can just do this infinitely and just get away with it. It's fucking awesome to see the wizards that can just go in and manipulate game code.
Let me take this too far.
Yeah, let me beat you without even knowing you've been beaten.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, here comes new challengers quite short this week because all I have is Mortal Kombat 11. We're still waiting on updates for Smash Bros. Ultimate vis-a-vis the Joker coming to the Persona 5 protagonist coming to the game. Street Fighter 5 hasn't had an update in a while. I think the next fighting game that's coming out for me, apart from Mortal Kombat 11, is the Guilty Gear 20th Anniversary Edition.
Okay.
But that's just an up-resed anniversary collection. There's nothing new about it. We're kind of in this weird lull space for fighting games because Capcom haven't announced a new fighting game. They're doubling down on single player experiences. Because in the next 2 years, we're getting Resident Evil 8 and Resident Evil 3 remake. I think this year we're getting next year we're getting Resident Evil 8. The year after that, we're getting Resident Evil 3 remake. Because they want to do it an annual thing, but I think then it becomes an Assassin's Creed type problem where they churn out these games so much that it dilutes the idea pool and they just run out of ideas.
Surely the best way to do that, when you've got that stable of games that are there, is you do like a 2-year cycle. You go a remake and a new one. New one. Because then you still get Resident Evil fans get something every year. Yeah. They still pump money into your company constantly. But you're not oversaturating the market. You're giving them the unique individual experience and you're giving your studios 2 years to make the game. Yeah. And if you've got the engine down and you know how to use it.
I think their Resident Evil 8 is going to be the last Capcom game to use the RE Engine 2. Resident Evil 3 is going to be made using RE Engine 3. Okay. Or maybe RE Engine 3. Resident Evil 3 remake is going to be the last. That's going to be the last game to use the RE Engine 2. So when they jump to Resident Evil 8, that's going to be the RE Engine 3, which is just going to be apparently totally different. It's going to be revolutionary. But
I was going to say you wouldn't really waste your new engine on a remake.
Yeah, because I think they're trying to pump out Resident Evil 3 as quickly as they can because they have most of the assets that they need from Resident Evil 2. Because Resident Evil 2 and 3 happen at the same time. Okay. I'm pretty sure if you break the game, you can find areas where Jill Valentine has been. And you can just say, if you go this way, the area where Jill Valentine, has to burn through some old rope to get to this area. You can see that in Resident Evil 2.
Okay.
So I think they want to just try and push that through because the fans want Resident Evil 3 remade, just so they can shit their pants with Nemesis running after them. But I think the next big thing for Capcom is probably going to be Monster Hunter Iceborne with the new ice level and the whole new content pack on top of that. But it's in this weird lull for fighting games just now, which is good and bad for me. Good in the sense that I can go and play other games for a bit. I might actually be able to start and finish The Witcher 3. But it's probably not going to happen because as many times as I try and force myself to play that game, it has never worked. But it's also bad for me in the sense that I'm not really getting more of my favourite type of game. But I have enough there to play.
Yeah.
I'm still playing through Smash Bros. I still haven't finished the story mode for that.
Yeah.
I'm still playing through Street Fighter Anniversary Collection. I'm still playing through Street Fighter 5. So there's plenty there, but there's just nothing new on Capcom or anybody else's front really that is going to make me, pick up a new fighting game.
So with that, it's time to debut our new Sports Corner jingle.
Sports Corner here, get your Sports Corner.
So Sports Corner.
Sports Corner.
Why did I put the headphones on you?
I have no idea. We've evolved past headphones. We don't need them. But this is something I want to get your opinion of. You are a sports fan.
Yep.
You like the old American footspiel. You like you don't really watch a bit of the rugby, but you followed it in previous years.
Yeah.
You're also a supervisor.
Yeah.
You also know how to coach someone.
And I've coached basketball teams and stuff like that.
Coached basketball teams. I was a rugby coach in my most recent job. This is a message sent from the head coach of it's an under 12s football team, sent to a kid called Dylan, explaining certain events that will become apparent when I read the quote. So this is the exact quote that was sent to Dylan's parents.
A 12-year-old boy.
Yeah, a soon-to-be 12-year-old boy. Hi, sorry about earlier. Had something urgent come up with the under 7s I had to sort. I want to talk to you about under 12s next season. Dylan is a lovely kid and improved a little since he joined us. But unfortunately, he is nowhere near ready to be playing footy at under 12 level. Next season, it starts to become competitive and is a massive jump from mini footy, where it is just a bit of fun and where everyone is guaranteed to be involved. Therefore, once the season finishes, end of the month, Dylan will no longer be a member of the club. See, it blocks out Dylan's name here, but not up here. There's no point in blocking out his fucking name on paragraph 4 if you haven't done it in paragraph 2. It's
That's a weird censoring.
It's dumb editing. But so therefore, once the season finishes at the end of the month, Dylan will no longer be a member of this club. Of course, he is invited to the presentation on Saturday, June 30th, but he will not be involved in pre-season for under 12s, I'm afraid, which starts in May. As a coach, fuck that guy. I'd fire that guy on the spot.
That is harsh, and I'm not going to lie, that is coming from a WhatsApp message.
Yeah.
That's like a text message.
That's a text message breakup of, sorry kid, you're no longer in the team.
That's horrific. I mean, on the one hand, I can see where the guy's coming from.
I mean, from a coaching standpoint, if you're picking a good team, you actually, sorry, this kid's not making the cut.
Yeah.
You do it in such a way where you say it to their face. You don't say like, sorry, you're not making the cut, or you say to them, you're not quite to standard.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep you back for a bit. You're not going to be playing many games, but we're going to still coach you. We're going to coach you through this. That's the hallmark of a good coach.
Yeah. And actually, you don't make the cut moment is a big moment in a kid's life. And it's important. It's a moment that needs to be there.
Oh yeah. It's something that needs to happen. That lose or kind of didn't quite make it moment needs to happen.
If you have you don't make the cut moment, it makes it a lot easier to have that happen in like a kid's sports environment when that comes up later on in life if you're being let go or you're being fired.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a really horrific thing because that coach has shunted that responsibility of delivering that message to the mum or to the dad of whoever he's like the kid to this Dylan kid.
Mm-hmm.
That's a shitty thing to do. Like that's really if you want to talk about like how you train and nurture and like support people because that's job coaching. That is not it.
That's definitely not the way you do it. If your coach, your job number one is you get your players to such a point where they believe that they could take on the world. You get them to such a space of confidence and such a space of confidence in their capabilities that they feel that they could take on anybody and everybody. Then you give them the skills to back that up. Then you train them in such a way where they support that confidence.
Yeah.
To just say to them, you were good at under 7s. That was just a piss about. Now we're going up to the big leagues and under 12-year-old football.
Yeah. And that's the thing, is like it's now, it becomes the like 13-year-olds and plus, and that's where it gets competitive. Let's ignore the idea that testosterone might start kicking in for this kid. That'd be a nice little
He's
booster.
about to hit his teenage. He's close to his teenage years where the body begins to change.
You are rolling so many dice at the same time. It's ridiculous. It's hard to keep track of what's actually going to happen to this kid. Making that prediction to say he's not actually good. I mean, let's give that coach the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he has a good team of kids. Maybe he's got like a good solid team of 12 to 15 kids that he needs to get to like a great level or a better level that he can develop, and he can actually work with that kid. And then you've got the kid at the side. You've got Dylan. You just can't quite get it, and it's been really frustrating to teach him and coach him. And when they're trying to present these kids for the next level of like maybe where they're going into like high school, and maybe they start thinking about colleges and stuff, where you want to really focus on that, it sounds like there's something else pushing that kid out. Like maybe it's not like him. Maybe the kid is just not there. Maybe they're trying to be really nice about the fact that kid is bad at football. Yeah. Maybe there's something that kid's not quite there yet. And they want to try and be nice about it to the parents. Or maybe it's like another parent saying, look, I'm paying you to coach my kid at soccer. You're going to coach my kid. And the fact you're wasting all this time with this Dylan kid, try to get him to be as good as the rest because it fits in, it's not fucking working for me. Yeah. Get rid of that kid.
Get rid of him. Get him out.
Get him out of here now. Like maybe there's some pressure from other external factors to just say, look, we want to make a team where we can actually present these kids as being good at football. We can get them forward in place. We can do something with this their pastime to where it helps them down the long road. But at the same time, that's a really shitty message to send to the parent. Like, as the coach, you should be taking responsibility for that moment where you tell the kid, sorry kid, you're not making the cut.
Yeah. I think it can also be an important teaching moment. If you say that you didn't make the cut, there's things that you can do outside of that. You just say, you're not, fair enough, you're not going to make the cut, you're not going to be involved in this team, but if you want to still be involved, like if you want to stick with it, you want to keep training, by all means keep training, but just know that in the back of your head, until we see a visible improvement,
you're not making the
team. And I think that's a powerful motivator. Yeah. And I mean, you could be right. This kid Dylan could just be, the quote unquote glue eater that just, isn't quite getting it or just doesn't grasp it. And if he is, it's still not the right way to do it. But if he's just not advancing in the same way the other guys are, maybe the coach is in the right to cut him, but not in that way.
Yeah. I'm more annoyed by the lack of personal accountability by the coach there than the actual, like, what's happening to that kid. Yeah. I feel like if I was the parent of that child, I'd be sending that, like, the screenshot to other parents and saying,
are you happy with this guy coaching your kids?
This is the guy who coaches your kids. This is the coward coaching your kids. He's preparing them for a sport where they will get knocked around. Like, this is how he teaches, this is how he treats people. Yeah. That's disappointing more from, like, a coaching point of view than like that.
Yeah, it's, to me, I think it's quite cowardly. Like, it's not, to not approach the kid directly and say, like, you're just not advancing as quick as some of the other kids. Either A, we work on this, or B, I'm sorry, I'm not going to put you forward for anything like that. Then other options present itself. But to just say through a WhatsApp message, probably to their parents, to the kids' parents, it's cowardly. Yeah,
that reads like reads like it's going to like, hey, so Dylan's mom. I mean, it's great having you around, nice people, but at the same time, son sucks dick. So
your son ain't good at football.
not having it. Sorry. That's horrific. I mean, who thinks that's the way? Who spends their life in sports? Because that's what coaches are. There's no way you do anything else, and then besides you like, maybe someday like after years of like teaching art, goes, it's time for me to teach kids how to play football.
Yeah, I'm gonna take time out of my art career, and I'm gonna coach rugby for a couple of years.
I'll go coach on the side. Live a little.
Then again, actually, there are a few teachers that used to teach us that coached on the side.
Yeah, but there were people who still spent their life in the sport. Like, they are still part of the sport thing. I'm talking about like somebody who was never involved in the sport and then comes around to eventually like coach it in the end. Mm-hmm. Like, you have to be part of the community. You have to understand the game and everything that's in it. Like, you have to know the sport inside out. Like, who spends their life with that connection to sport and then fobs off the job of saying no to a kid on the mum?
Yeah, that's pretty harsh.
Nah.
No, it's not the right way to do it. Personally, when I've been writing team sheets out or helping, because I was only really a forwards coach. I wasn't even properly paid. It was a volunteer thing that I did, but I still did it for long enough that I consider it a job.
If it fits on a CV, it's a job.
When I was sort of writing who my forwards were for the weekend, because we'd always do like 8 forwards, then you do some subs. I picked them, and we had a huge pool of players. I would always say to the guys, "Look, sorry, you're not making the cut this week, but by all means, like, you're not excluded from playing. Like, if you keep hammering away at it, we can make them definite improvements." Or my main thing was always, you've not made it this week, but I've been taking notice of what you've been doing. Like, don't think your hard work's not going unnoticed, that kind of thing. If they're just maybe under, like, just on the cusp, but not quite above it.
Yeah, like if you can only pick 8 players and then 3 subs, that 12th guy is going to feel like shit. But I mean, he still deserves to know he's the 12th guy.
Yeah, so like you are, like injuries, you're right on that team sheet. But otherwise, I have my starting team. You're not quite there, but you're not excluded from training.
Yeah. Nobody should be treated like that Dylan kid was.
Yeah, no one should be like, yeah, Dylan, fuck you. You're not getting on the pitching number because you suck.
Nobody likes you and you smell funny. Fuck off.
Your mum shortchanged me, you bitch.
Yeah. I'm ready for showstopper.
So, yeah, you have the sports centric showstopper.
Yeah, put the sports content, not just to delay the reveal, but it was to actually to introduce you to a new sport.
Okay.
This is absurd. This is the fact that this sport is played in arenas, or like in kind of like small or medium-sized kind of sports arenas.
It's
like
Quidditch.
No.
Because
You think I'm bringing you that basic bitch Harry Potter shit?
No, because I drove to a game recently, and me and my brother drove to a game recently, and we seen fully grown men and women with broomsticks between their legs playing Quidditch on a football pitch.
See, the thing is, like, see if you took the broomsticks out of it and the being a wizard shit, the Quidditch game actually sounds pretty interesting.
Yeah, but
like, you have that quaffle, you have that giant weird shaped ball, try to throw it with it like netball in a way, and you have like a keeper and stuff like that, like in a weird kind of handball kind of rugby type sport.
Yeah,
that'd work. I don't know how you get like the bludgers as well, like you get people to just knock balls at people at like 90 miles an hour.
Yeah,
that sounds awesome. Don't know how you handle the snitch.
Yeah, do you just get one guy like with a
drone
with a golden ball just swinging it above his head? Whoever catches it and rips it off the stick, they get the is it the snitch?
Yeah, snitch. Yeah, that'd be an interesting way to handle it. You have like an arm that just starts like that just launches. Actually, you just have like a little tube that randomly just launches the snitch out of it, and it just goes on, like it just launches onto the field. For, like first person to like have it in their hand above their head wins. I'd play the fuck out of that game.
It's the fact that you have to spend like 2 or 3 hours a Saturday with a broomstick between your legs.
As I was saying, like,
Gryffindor.
Get rid of the witches' clothes and get rid of the broomsticks. Like, just make it like rugby.
Yeah,
just make it like rugby, but you hit people with stuff.
Yeah, just you've got a policeman's billy club and just batting about these.
Honestly, I think that'd be the shit. I'd play the fuck out of that.
Yeah.
Just get rid of the fucking weird nonsense. You'd be great.
Yeah. Get rid of the weird wizarding attire.
Yeah.
Get that the fuck.
But this is a professional sport that's played from like it literally. I talked to my friend about this because this is a sport from India called kabaddi. Now this is Kabaddi.
Kabaddi.
Yeah, kabaddi. Yeah, he did it kabaddi.
All right.
So it's Kabaddi.
Yeah.
Now, this is basically professional TIG. It is the shit.
Professional TIG.
Yes.
Okay.
You play in teams 7. The court itself is about the size of, I'm going to say, badminton court.
Okay, yeah.
Because you and I both play badminton, but it's not that big.
I played doubles, but I was terrible at doubles because I don't work well in teams.
It's about the size of nobody plays well in teams in badminton. It's your racket in your hand covers half the court.
Yeah. I was an energetic fucker when I was younger. I was all over the place. I was like, pick up your shit, motherfucker. I was a nightmare to play with.
But imagine about the size of a full-sized like tennis or badminton court, like the full thing.
Not massive, but still space to run about in.
Yeah. You have a line down the middle, 2 teams of 7. Now this is the thing, is that the rules don't stipulate this, but all the footage you'll find nowadays, and this thing is, it's been played at a national level. There was a Kabaddi World Cup. Kabaddi was presented at the Asia Games, basically at the Asia-specific Olympics.
Okay.
In 1990, it was originally presented when the original ones were done in 1952, and then it wasn't quite accepted. They put it back in 96 or something like that, and it's come back since about 2002. So this has been at like an almost Olympic level sport, and yet no one west of India plays it. Fucking nonsense.
I'm just getting the image of an Indian ref just going, halt. You're it. Run away.
Well, I think it's a little bit more organised than that. Slightly.
Slightly more organised.
Slightly, I'm going to get to it, because the thing is, these are big boys.
Yeah.
This is rugby.
Really?
This is rugby level, like, muscle, like, these are some thick boys, thick-ass boys.
Some big boys.
Torsos, proper man torsos,
Yeah.
brilliant. But it's played in half, and then the 7 guys are on one side, one guy steps forward into their half. And at that point, he's kind of positioned himself. He has to tag as many people as he can, and then get out before he's stopped. He has to get back over his half of the line. Each one of those players is a point, and they also sit on the side. So it's basically dodgeball rules in that way, that once somebody's tagged, they're out. The only thing is, they can stop him. So once he starts tagging people, he can get stopped. And I mean, they hold him in place. Because
They just grab him by the shoulders.
once you start tagging people, and once you actually like cross the line, you're allowed to keep staying in that line, and you're still active as a player as long as you say a word. Now, normally the word is cavity, so you say cavity, 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 as you're going through picking out who you want to tag. And the setup for it's really interesting, because it's kind of like American football. There's a lot of setup, a lot of positioning, and then there's like half a second of violence, and it's just all the like the explosive power of all these guys. So you can tag, you can go away with, like, you can just tag one person and jump back over the line. You get 1 point. That one person's out. Next person comes up.
Playing it safe.
Play it safe. Or you can go for the big bucks. You can go for about 3 or 4 people. So it gets really fucking interesting when you see people try to position each other. And also, not only that, but as the defensive team, if you can position your guys so that there's somebody like behind them, out of eye view, when that guy starts like tagging people, your guy can just come in and just sideswipe the motherfucker. So there's a lot of positioning and stamping and stuff. And you see a lot of like footwork and stuff from like when I'm fencing and stuff. I'm like, ooh, that's interesting. You see people like positioning like where they're looking at and how, and you can see how this develops from like a kind of skirmish game when you're trying to people how to like teach people how to fight with swords.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of that in it. Like just this weird kind of like ritual setup. There is almost no rules on how you stop people. I have seen people body slammed in this game. You can go on and find games that's on YouTube, YouTube and stuff.
So wait. There's no like say you can only hold them like by the shoulders and a kind of around the shoulders hold thing. You can just literally suplex a motherfucker if you want.
When they stop saying their word, it doesn't have to be cavity, but I just keep saying it's cavity.
Yeah.
But it's when they stop saying their word, or when they can't move forward any further, and they just have to get their hand over the line. But they have to like keep saying the word. They have to keep being capable of leaving the arena or leaving their opposing half. If you can stop that, you get all your guys back. They don't score any points. But you have to go in and tag as many people as they can and jump back over. That's pretty much it. But you can see people just get like held. I saw one guy going for a couple points and like grab a couple bodies, and he starts trying to turn and run back. So it's either do you turn and use your full body strength to run back, at which point you'll be pounced on from the back and then have to like fight your way forward. And I mean, it's a fight.
Yeah.
It is a guy like, I have to touch the other line. I have to touch beyond the line to get all my points in. And all the guys have to try and stop him. I saw a guy like get picked up by the waist, turned like 180 degrees, and then just slammed back onto the ground. At which point, like 4 other dudes jump on him.
What the fuck?
I was like, this is awesome. This is like, it's played on a hardwood floor. Like, these guys do not give a shit.
Jesus.
And it's like big guy. Like, you can see the reason why you're big. Like, if you're a tiny little scrawny guy,
Yeah,
like,
you're breaking something.
yeah, like you might be able to jump in and nip and be real quick and stuff, but then you get grabbed, you're breaking an arm.
Yeah, you're getting
I'd recommend it. Just take 20 minutes.
just look up Kabaddi.
Take 20 minutes. Just go Google Cavity, and you just have an absolute riot. It's you'll not get the rules at first. You won't understand why things are being called certain ways, and then you'll see it, and then you go like halfway through your first game, you go, oh,
like that. Yeah.
oh, so he does that, and then that, and it, like when you start piecing together the rules of the game, it's a lot of fun. Like, I'm going to look forward to like watching Cavity when I can, like if I can just throw on a game.
Professional Kabaddi.
Yeah, I'm just getting like, what do you do? Oh, we're just watching the game. Oh, what, like the NFL's not on. Nah, bro, Cavity over. Cavity League, woo! Taiwan's playing this year. It's gonna be the shit.
We're watching the IPK, Indian Professional Kabaddi.
It's amazing. Like you look at these teams, and it's weird that it got to this level of professionalism. Like we're talking about like international professional Cavity leagues. we're talking like full get up, like a full like unique strips, like and very Indian inspired. Like it doesn't look like an English football league team. It doesn't look like a rugby team. Like all their like outfits are like much more colourful, much more bright, and much more like proud of their game. And like people are like cheering in the stands with signs and like, yeah, fuck him up. And like, how did we miss all of this? Like, how do we not see this shit? So go watch a game of Kabaddi if you get the chance.
Is actually the PKL, the Pro Kabaddi League.
So go watch some PKL.
Sponsored by Vivo?
I guess so.
I remember the name Vivo from somewhere. I'm going to
Vivo's the...
Google Vivo.
Oh, I was going to say that's Vimeo. I was going to say the compare to...
It's a technologies company.
Oh.
Hold on. I think they
primarily based in India, I'm guessing.
No, China.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, it's spreading east.
Vivo India.
Yeah, it's spreading east. That's the thing. Is
they make mobile phones. So they've got a pretty big sponsor.
Yeah. So it's a weird thing. Of, like, it's so... Like, normally you see some, like, weird sports and you're like, dude, who the fuck is it? Like, this is, like, bum fights level shit. You look at this. This is filmed with, like, 4K cameras. The refs are like highly respected. Like you see these guys going like, no, we're fucking dealing with this issue. Like you were out, you were this, and they'll like go back and review the footage and stuff. Like, how did we miss all of this? It's amazing.
Right. Would you like to hear the names of some Kabaddi or Pro Kabaddi League team name?
Go for
teams.
it.
We have Dabang Delhi.
Right.
They have Puneri Paltan.
Right.
The Jaipur Pink Panthers. the Haryana Steelers.
Yeah.
The Gujarat Fortune Giants, and Mumbai. I think that may be University of Mumbai. Jesus Christ.
I know. It's
like
fascinating.
The points difference in these is like the points difference for the points taken by like Dabang Delhi is 22 with 11 wins. Jeez, I'm all in on Kabaddi now. I'm
It's
going to look
intense. It's really good. I think you'd get a kick out of it. And if you're looking for something different, if you're bored of the like traditional sports that you see all the time, just go. Here's something new you can test.
I'm going to get a Kabaddi team going in my uni.
Yeah,
the Edinburgh Napier Kabaddi League.
And ladies and gentlemen, this is the beginning of the story of the little boy who could from bonus. He became the world Kabaddi champion.
Damn right, it's going to happen. I'm going to join the Bengal Warriors. Staying on brand, I'm going to go from the Glasgow Warriors fan base to the Bengal Warriors fan base. Going to change my name. I'm going to become fully embraced in the Indian culture, and I'm going to go to the top with the Kabaddi leagues.
So that has been it for another episode of the Gibberpish Podcast. If you've enjoyed yourself, feel free to subscribe to wherever you find this podcast. We should be on iTunes. We mostly put our stuff up through Podbean, but that generally kind of distributes it to just about everywhere else that we can think of. If you want to follow us on Twitter, you can follow me at IronLordMad. You can follow Dom at
Dom Anderson25. And
you can follow the podcast for announcements on when new episodes come up on at Gibberpish on Twitter, or you can contact the podcast at gibberpishpodcast@gmail.co.uk. I'll see you next time.
See you next time.